This is the 31st Lap Podcast, recorded live in the studios of FingerLakes1.com in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now, your hosts, Rich Post, John Baumes, Mike Mallett, and Chris Marquardt.
Good evening, everybody. Changed the lineup drastically tonight. None of those guys, other than myself, are here with us. We've got Dean Reynolds joining us in studio this evening, and Justin Henderson also making his 31st lap hosting duties debut. Justin, welcome.
Thank you.
Got everybody unmuted, ready to go. I'm Chris Marquardt, filling in, as we said, for
I thought
Mike
we were
and
the
John.
new guys here. You get it right?
Thanks for that over there. That's awesome. How's that hat fitting today?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Gotta love it. The chair's kind of wide, though.
Yeah, well, it's Rich's chair. We're coming to you live from the lavish FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls. Thanks so much for joining us. We're streaming live on FingerLakes1.com. Follow the links to see the show as it happens. Also visit 31stlap.com. This is the 31st Lap, covering all brands of racing in and around the Finger Lakes region. We've got a huge show on deck tonight. We're going to catch up with a busy Larry White. John Lazore from Mohawk International Speedway is going to pop in. We'll catch up with 2003 and 2004 and prior Super Sprints champion Lance Yonge. And we're also going to catch up with Roy Sova about a really cool Make-A-Wish venture going on up there at the Oswego Speedway. And we're also going to get into a little bit of a debate topic later. You can be the neutral party on this one, Justin. Is the sprint market saturated? So we'll be able to talk a little bit about that.
No,
Dean.
there's more cell phones non-sprint than... Didn't expect that one, did you?
Excellent. Yeah, well, it didn't take long to get a plug in either.
I haven't plugged anything yet. You notice? No, look at the shirt.
I know. I just transitioned to that so everybody at home could see the fact that you are not wearing anything that you frequently sell.
No.
Which I'm impressed. I'll give you credit for that.
There you go.
Which I got to say, though, I am a little bit disappointed. Feel free to chime in anytime. You got anything to sell? I mean, I saw the team colors over there.
Yeah, I got the team shirt on, but I'll be number one to plug tonight. Let's get Henderson Racing and Coors Light and all them in.
Still disappointed, though. He didn't bring any gifts. 12
Gifts.
ounces.
That's right.
12-ounce gifts.
Yep.
Hey, if Posty would have gotten in touch with me a little earlier and given me the directions, we would have had them.
Come on, JH, get with it.
All we got to do is move this to the shop. We got plenty there.
We could do that. We've got the mobile rig. I mean,
After Amy's, now you can. There you go.
That's one of the things I kind of wanted to open talking about. I don't know if anybody's been following along with Twitter and Facebook, and also keeping in touch with anybody over there at the Dirt Motorsports Hall of Fame. I am pleased to announce that everything going on with the July 12th live remote at Amy's Checkered Flag is flying. We on Tuesday got the okay, more or less.
Saw that. Yeah.
So cars. Bring as many as you can fit. If you want to bring a car down, it's an open invitation. I stopped by yesterday afternoon and saw Raleigh Velt. Raleigh Velt's coming down. We're trying to get in touch with Ronnie Narducci. I know he lives on River Road in Waterloo, but that's a long road. So to just say he lives on River Road, I'm not going to go knocking door to door. If anybody can get a hold of him, we would love to do that. We have confirmed Mike McLaughlin. He's going to be calling in.
Magic shoes, sweet.
Gotta love it.
We have confirmed Bobby Allison, who's going to be calling in from Loudon. John McCardle and Johnny Podolak are both going to be on site. Chuck Siprich is going to be there for an autograph session, and I'm sure we're going to be able to make time for a quick discussion. And I talked to Fran Hilton, and so it looks like Fran's going to come.
Oh, fast
Now,
Franny.
will Mel Thomas open the doors and lock the doors?
I don't know. The way that this is coming, every day that goes by as we talk more about this live remote going on over there, we remember more people that we've inadvertently not contacted. It's not that we forgot anybody. It's just we haven't had a chance to get a hold of them.
Fast.
It's happened. Oh, Bobby Perro. I talked to Bobby Perro. He's probably going to make a stop by.
Awesome.
Yeah, and he
many-time ESS winner. And
we talked a little bit about his career with ESS, and he spent more time telling me about the races that he was leading in the last 10 laps and lost. And so I mean, the stories were great. So we look forward to catching up. Hopefully we'll have time to get him on. I still haven't had a chance to get a hold of Dave Rouser. I put a phone call in to Stu Shepard, but I never made contact there. And basically the long story short is it's an open invitation. If you didn't get a phone call directly, please don't be offended, but please show up.
Hint hurricane?
Already been there, and he's going to be in Old Forge.
Oh, okay, because I bet you he would have gone.
And he was mad. He was upset.
Really? Yeah, no, because I've known Steve's been there before.
Being we're right down the street, you could go right down to the Big Show shop.
I know. I know, and I haven't made that trip down yet. I was over there today after we were on our way back from Watkins Glen International earlier today, and there were some people milling around, but I was running short on time because I had to get the stuff put together for the Finger Lakes Times and then put the video together for tonight, which we'll check out a little bit later on.
I got to say, we were all sitting there pulling for the big show, and I thought he was going to get up on the roof and announce his retirement after the win.
That was cool to see him win, though. It had to be cool. Fans probably liked that.
Oh, it was probably one of the louder ovations you would have heard. It was better than the late models.
So, there's no doubt that
everyone likes Dave.
Yeah,
everyone likes Dave.
He doesn't have an enemy anywhere.
Yeah. No, and he helps out so many people, sponsors so many events.
He's just a good all around guy, good for the sport.
How long has he been in the modified division? I mean, I'm trying to think back. I remember the orange and black car.
10 years?
Always,
it's probably about 8 to 10.
He's been around for a while, and he's been real close a lot of times, and he's had a lot of heartbreak and stuff. So for him to finally break through on a stage like that was great.
I seen him flip down the entire front straightaway at Utica Rome, but nothing phases him. He goes, it's part of racing. And he just gets the car ready and comes back next week.
Dave is the king of wreckers or checkers. And, I mean, they must have stumbled on something here in the last couple of weeks. He's got a fourth a couple of weeks ago and came out and had a great dominating, performance in that one dash. And almost had the second one, but just started fading a little, The track was pretty dry slick, so I was hoping to see Dave do a 2 in a row.
Well, if there was anybody that you could have win that second one that would be just as popular as winning that first one, I don't think you can really argue with having Pete Britton out there.
No.
Yeah, and he's had some tough luck this year, and especially, it started with losing his dad, and that's tough. And then he had to, leave his family in Australia and come here to the States, shortly after that. So it was good to see him win too.
I couldn't imagine what he went through with that. I've played all winter long, one of the Words with Friends games with Pete, and nice guy, just all around, just loves racing. And, I think there's somebody out there who will rival, Steve Payne for the Payne lane around the top. I think Pete's got it now.
Pete's exciting. He's exciting. You watch the videos of him down home in Australia, and I tell you, he's the one to beat down there. I mean, he's kingpin down there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Did you see the promotional stuff that came out when he first talked about coming over here? The pictures of the two cars. There was the 21, and then there was, I'm blanking on the number of the other one. But there was the two cars, and they had the Troyer colors and everything. They were parked right there. Man, that was a sharp picture.
I think he flies the number 1 car down in Australia.
Was it?
I think so, yeah.
The AUS 1.
Yeah. I know Australia down there, they do the paint jobs a little different down there, too, and they're definitely a lot more color down there. They really do. It's kind of a whole... the sponsors are lettered differently and the paint jobs are different. The numbers are all different than what we have our numbers on the door. Down there, they have them everywhere.
Whichever Providence they run from, they got it on the windows. It's kind of neat because it gives a little exposure to where these guys are all coming from because, Australia being smaller than the U.S., but they're still traveling quite a bit to get there.
And unfortunately, we don't have individual county flags within New York, so we're probably not going to see a lot of...
Well, I got a lot of sprint car friends that go down, in Australia in our winter, which is their summer, and they say that there's tracks that could be 10 hours away, 10 hours apart. There'll be one track on Friday, got to go 10 hours away on Saturday to get to the next track, and then come back like 6 hours ago on Sunday.
And there's a convoy of cars going there.
Yeah,
yeah, they don't screw around. Now, ESS, what's the farthest trip that ESS makes from one stop to another?
Well, we're going to do a good one here Saturday and Sunday. We're at Maryville Saturday, and we got to go to Utica Rome Sunday. But we used to do Drummondville to Utica Rome on Labor Day weekend.
No fun.
Yeah, and we actually left Drummondville as soon as we got done and drove straight down to Utica Rome. And then the cars would actually work on the cars. Everyone would work on the cars in the parking lot and get some sleep whenever they can. We finally got rid of that swing. But
how far is that drive?
That's about 6 hours.
Is it?
Yeah. It's about 6 hours. We did that for about 4 or 5 years, but then it just became too tough, so we had to move that weekend.
And any late model guy or, sprint car guy that travels the U.S. listening right now is laughing because we're complaining about a 6-hour drive. They do 20 over.
But it's part of the deal. I mean, it's this trip here with Merrittville to Utica Rome, somebody is still going to be close to home.
Absolutely.
At 1 to 2 nights, so that's where it works out, except if you're coming down from Quebec. So
the nice thing is a lot of these guys, that run together for as long as they do, if one of them's got a shop on one side, the other one's got a shop, everybody works out of each other's shops, washes cars, sets them up,
Absolutely.
That's one thing I like when we go up to Canada. Randy Williams throws an open invitation to all the Bicknell cars because he wants us there. He wants us to use his equipment to make sure that we're ready to race because we're there trying to help their car counts. So, it's people like Randy and the other good people in the sport that really make this fun.
What's the longest trip you've taken?
16 and a half hours to Daytona Beach when I was there.
That's not quite what I was going for, but
no,
that's
I mean,
fair.
we, I was down when I was working for Petty. I was on track on a Friday afternoon, packed up. My dad flew down. We jumped in a car, drove all the way back to New York, and was racing the next day.
Wow.
No kidding.
Wow.
So, I mean, I kind of count that, and I got to tell you, that sucked.
Was everything ready when you got home? Were you pretty much ready to race at that point? Or
I was lucky that my dad had the cars
He had
done and
done
ready
everything?
to race, yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine that was probably a bit of a challenge to get through. We're about 4 minutes away from getting Larry White on the phone. We'll talk a little bit about his win at Brewerton Speedway. We can get Larry on first if you want, or do you want to
However you want to do it, my friend.
This is a little bit weird because it's like breaking in new people.
Hey,
you've been here 800 times now.
But the thing is New England didn't know what they had with Tom Brady until Drew Bledsoe got hurt.
That's
so
right.
You never know. The
That's
backup
right.
could be all right.
And now, Justin, you're coming next week too, right?
As long as we have a good week this week, yeah, I should be here next week.
And then we've got the live show, which is a little bit closer by a few minutes if you stop at Amy's Checkered Flag on July 12th.
Yep.
That's
if you want to crank the music, I'll run right through this.
I bet. Now, how do you feel about the music? Mike virtually refuses to do any of this stuff.
You got to do the music because then you know what's coming up. See, there you go. Absolutely. What I'll do is I'll do last weekend's results first, and then we'll get into what happened during the week because it is a biggie week.
It was a busy week.
It is a very busy week. Let's start right out alphabetically. Accord actually fell to rain. One of not many tracks that fell to rain last weekend, so everybody had a good weekend to get the races in.
Actually, though, I don't know if you caught this or excuse me, that wasn't the right track. Never mind. I was going to make an Andy Bicchetti wins every race joke, but I don't think that was the right track.
No, that is the right track.
That was the right
yes,
one.
Yes, it is. Yeah. So actually, this is the second time he's lost. One was Danny Creedon. This was
they actually made out the check to him anyway.
So,
they gave him first place points just
kind of like Albany-Saratoga and Brett.
Speaking about Albany-Saratoga, last Friday Stuart Friesen won in Jake Spraker's car, which was a pretty big event there, and a lot of people talked about that. Big Diamond, the winner was Power Failure. Brewerton was Larry White, and they continue with the tradition. You win at Brewerton and be on the 31st lap the very next Thursday, so we'll be talking to Larry. Bridgeport, Rick Laubach. Brockville, Kyle, and my favorite last name, Dingwall. Gotta love that. Canandaigua was Alan Johnson. Who was the sportsman last Saturday?
Last Saturday, that I don't remember.
Okay, I don't remember. Took the sportsman race.
I believe that was A.J. Lloyd with his
It was
first
A.J.,
win.
you're right.
A.J. kept Dave Marcachelli off of him.
Yeah, second year running. Got his first win. He ran a good race.
18H was third.
There you go. Chemung was Jimmy Zacharias, and Mallett, here's how you pronounce it. It's Andy Jankowiak. He butchered that big time last week. Cornwall got rained out, unfortunately, because they did World of Outlaw late models. No make-up date for that. That sucks for that track, because that's one of the big shows. You always want to get that in. Delaware National, H.J. Bunting. 5 Mile Point. The winner was 172-year-old Mike Colston. Fonda, Ronnie Johnson got in victory lane. Grandview, I refuse to say because Baumes is probably want to hear it, but it was Dwayne Howard.
Dwayne Howard.
There you go. Glen Ridge was Matt Shepard. I-88, Jim Gabriel Jr. Lebanon Valley had the mods and 358s. Brett Hearn won the mods. 358s with J.R. Hefner. Lernerville, I had to put this in because the late models are one of the top classes there. So Brian Ellenberger sprints, Jared Miley late models, and Brian Swartzlander was the modifieds. Danny Dietrich won at Lincoln. Merrittville, who's going to be a place where it's going to be dear to my heart this Saturday. Pete McNell won last Saturday. New Egypt was Willie Osmond. Orange County, after a 2-year hiatus, Jerry Higbee found victory lane. Pencan, Billy Thornton was the winner. Port Royal, where like 18 of us went down last Saturday night, and 16 of them were Malletts, was Greg Hodnett. Ransomville's Chad Brockman. Sillings Grove, Pat Cannon. Spencer, Rusty Smith came up and won there. State Line, the full-blown late models there, Mr. Marquardt, was Greg Oakes. Utica Rome fell to rain. We'll be there on Sunday. Williams Grove, Brian Monteith. Woodhall, Billy Van Pelt. And Wyoming County was Jimmy Zacharias. On the tours, the ACS National Tour was Jason Johnson and Cody Baker. The 358 Super Dirt Series race was at Mohawk. The winner was Billy Dunn in Laurent Ladisser's backup car. So that had to be real interesting. If anyone cares, Formula One was Fernando Alonso. IndyCar was Ryan Hunter-Lay. Lucas Oil late model, Steve Francis and John Blankenship. The Northern Summer Nationals for 360 sprint cars, Jared Zimbardi and the current Lucas Oil ESS point leader, Justin Barger, picked up the wins. RLC on the pavement tour at Dunn Tire was Mike Leedy. URC got rained out at Potomac, but Ed Aiken won at Winchester. USEC Midgets in Iowa was Bobby Santos, and Silver Crown was Bobby East. The sprints were on tour as well, John Stambro and Dave Darland. The World of Outlaw late models at Granby was T-Mac, Timmy McCready. World of Outlaw sprints at Dodge City, Dad won, and then Son won, Craig and Steve Kinzer. NASCAR Whaling Tour was at Waterford, Doug Kobe. Nationwide, how about Nelson Piquet Jr., first time ever in a Nationwide car, and he wins. Granted, it was a road course, but still, it's something you got to say. Yes, it is. And, of course, Sprint Cup, Clint Boyer won over Smoke and a choked up and tearful because he's still glad he has a ride, Kurt Busch. Just had to throw that in there.
Oh, did anybody else get a kick out of that, too?
Was he crying like that and acting that way because he needs to be showing more of a sensitive side so that he doesn't lose his ride completely, or was it because he was genuinely
I think
happy?
It was just, and I think it's because he's happy he's still able to have a ride, because I think he's probably really close to losing that. But, that car ran that whole race with no sponsors, so what's that tell you?
Well, I mean, James Finch really cut him some slack.
Yeah,
if it was any other owner, he would have been packing.
So. During the week, the World of Outlaw late models was at Canandaigua, and I heard it was a great show. I wish I could go there, but I had softball. Darrell Lanigan, who's the point leader, beat T-Mac and Timmy Fuller. The mods, like we talked earlier, was Dave Rauscher and Pete Britton. The Ohio Sprint Speed Week is going on, and actually the winners of all of them so far was Danny Holtgraver, Stevie Smith, Kyle Larson, Brendan Mattis, and last night was Dale Blaney. They are racing at Hilltop right now, and that's where Mallett and Baumes are at. ROC Dirt Tour was at I-88. Mike Mahaney, so the 31st lap good luck continues. He beat Jimmy Horton and Stuart Friesen. And Lancaster had the Dirt Car 358 Series on the asphalt. Quebec's Patrice McRail beat Keith Fleck and Matt DiLorenzo.
Keith Fleck's been having a good run on the pavement. They got a nice Bicknell pavement car made for him.
Yeah, and he's been going up to Airborne, and I think he got top 5 at Airborne when they had the series up there.
Third or fourth. Him and DiLorenzo both are running good.
Yeah, so it's they only had 12 cars at Lancaster. I don't know if they're probably too happy with that. It's a shame because I kind of like this 358 on the asphalt deal because Mike Peratti's got something really good going up at Airborne, but Lancaster's so far away, and for even the Ransomville, Merrittville guys to come on down, it's a lot of work.
I'd love to get up and see it. I think these cars probably would work pretty well on there, but it's tough during the week when you got cars to put together and everything else. I did notice one other thing, and it's a sprint car thing for you. My Twitter feed and Facebook stuff was blowing up. Brittany Tresh, I guess, got her first win down at Pencan.
Yeah, she did. And Doug Zupan is texting, and let's see what he says. And my buddy Cody Blue won the Sportsman feature Saturday at Fonda, first win of 2012.
And he's going to be on the show next week.
Awesome. There you go.
We were trading some messages through Facebook about who we're going to have, and if everything goes according to plan, we're going to have Cody and Vic Coffey will be on the show next week.
The captain.
Cool.
So we'll...
And Fast Time at Hilltops was David Gravel, as we speak. 28 cars at Hilltop for the Sprint Speed Week. That's all I got, my friend.
Not bad. We'll give Dave Marcichelli a quick plug for last night winning in the Sportsman.
There you go. Thank you.
Followed by some guy in silver 21 car.
Yeah, silver bullet. He didn't bring any.
My bad.
You're still really sore about that.
It's terrible. I got to drink. Look, I got to drink this stuff here.
You got to drink that stuff. Well, you could have brought get a couple of those airplane bottles and dump it in and go.
You actually stopped it nice and easy. They do sell Coors Light.
I figured I was going to get freebie handouts.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how sponsors.
I don't know how well you know Dean, but if there's any remote possibility he's getting something for free, don't bank for a minute that he's going to be reaching into his wallet to buy his own.
And hell, I don't even beg either. They just give to me.
That's right.
Sounds like a typical racing guy.
Do you want to get Larry on the phone?
Yeah, I'll give him a call.
And we'll get that going. And
I tell you, speaking about Larry, and we'll get into this, I was at Brewerton last Friday as well, and I didn't realize that was his first win at Brewerton.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was kind of emotional. I mean, his parents are really, really touched that he got the win, and because they own the track, of course. But it was unique. They laid down a new surface in turns 3 and 4 because they said the clay was starting to get a little tired, and you can't fault the track for trying. But Unfortunately, it rained when they laid it down, and it was unique and interesting race. It was a fun race to watch. But Larry actually went right through the middle of everything to take that win.
Just a plug, Larry White's got some real nice classical music ringtone back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's not even old enough to have classical music ring.
Trying to figure it out. Still having some trouble figuring it out. I talked to we had a Newark Pilots baseball game on Tuesday. And when I was talking with him, with Jim, I got something. Update on a former 31st lap guest, Luke Whitaker. He is in North Carolina right now testing the Race 101 Super
Yes,
late
he's
model.
down at the 101. Yep, I was following his Facebook on that. Absolutely.
How about that? Good for him.
Yes. So that 101 deal is a nice deal. A lot of people.
I didn't realize how many people.
Mike Mahaney seems to really be the one that has really benefited from that the most. It seems like because he's really turned the corner.
Mike's definitely on fire this year. I don't know what they found, but they found something. I'll be giving Larry a call back here in a moment. He didn't pick up.
Okay, no problem.
That's all right. We can ad lib.
Yep, we're all right. We can make it work. And like we said, following at 7:30, we're going to have Larry, and then coming up at 7:45, we're going to try and get a hold of John Lazore. John Lazore, he's got a heck of a season going up there.
Yes, he does. And I tell you, if you've never been to Mohawk International, by the way, it's MIR, Mohawk International Raceway.
I don't even know what I put up there.
You said Speedway earlier, but that's okay. You got to get out of the wine country area every now and then.
The last time I was up, that's a horrible story. I'm not going to do that to him.
Well, it's amazing because if people have not been to that track since like 5-6 years ago, they would not even recognize the place. I mean, it's definitely probably the most improved track, and and it's going to be a unique story when we talk to John about that. We go up there twice this year. And it's just an amazing place. And I think it's going to be interesting when we talk to John to hear how much dedication, not to mention money, they have dumped into a track. And it's probably money they'll never even see back either, but they just did it just to build that racetrack. And then that was a doink.
That was
hurt.
Yeah.
That was all right.
Grabbed it a little too fast. That's one of the scary things about when you're putting a racetrack together is, like, you look at the situation they were in over there at Brewerton. They didn't have much choice but to try and do something to spark it.
Yeah.
So they tried to do it, and now they're making everybody's making them a goat. You know what I mean? And the track ripped up. My dad went there because my dad shoots all the stuff for the 600 micros.
Mm-hmm.
He's like the tour photographer, and he asked me if I wanted to go, and I was tied up. I couldn't make it home in time to get out of here on time to get there on time. And he shot me a text message that night. He says, "We're going on about 40 minutes, red flag." The thing that nobody has really spent that much time talking about, and Brewerton needs to be credited for this, they were willing to put the show on hold for almost an hour to try and make it better.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, some of the ruts were so deep, they didn't have a choice. But, I mean, they put the effort in, and they should probably get some love for that.
Well, I don't know if you saw the photos. They're actually doing 2 tracks at once now. They laid down the new clay at Fulton. They laid down the rest of the clay at Brewerton. They put the new lights up on those poles. I don't know if you saw the poles in the infield. They got these new high-rise poles in the infield of Brewerton, and they putting the lights up there.
Kind of like the Cup Speedway light.
It's just, I mean, it's amazing what they're doing. And
you know what?
And John White, I mean, he's dumping the money into the tracks, and whether he makes it or not, I mean, if he breaks even, I'm sure he's happy. But, you can't fault anyone, especially with tracks trying to struggle to stay open. You got somebody willing to donate money into a track that they'll probably never see back.
Unfortunately, these guys that run the tracks are damned if they do and damned if they don't, because they're never going to please everybody. There's always going to be the naysayers, John could have let Fulton and Brewerton turn into
If he didn't buy them, they would have been
housing.
housing. So, yep, both of them were done. They were done. Yep.
The same thing, Canandaigua. Jeremy Corcoran took over the place.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of years ago, we were getting pelted with rocks. People were getting hurt in the stands. Now we have one of the premier facilities in upstate New York, in my opinion. The track's fast. The stands are full again. What more can you ask for? The place could have just been, Ontario County could have just said, thanks, see ya, bye.
If you look, this is actually, as far as racetracks, actually a good time here in Central New York. You got Jeremy taking over Canandaigua doing improvements there. You got John rescuing, Fulton and Brewerton. Gene Cole always dumps his money back into Utica Rome. You got Mohawk that's now been resurrected, with all brand new. Albany-Saratoga is now back on the map. There's a lot of good and I-88 with their new surface down there, and then he had an RLC show. There's so many tracks that is getting dumped into so much money by people that are dedicated to racing that, a lot of these tracks probably would not even be around if somebody did not want to do that. So it's actually, it's actually kind of a strong time here in Central New York. I mean, these tracks are striving and crowds are coming back. And it's a good time.
It's good to see because, when I was a kid growing up, you couldn't find a seat in the stands. The last 5-6 years before Jeremy took over Canandaigua, you were lucky if you could find a soul in the stands. And now it's starting to get back to the late model show the other night. The joint was packed. The pits were packed. It was comforting to see. It
was big for our show last year, and even for when we came back for the rain date, it was enormous for the rain date.
Absolutely. Yeah. Whether it's sprint cars, it's late models, it's big blocks, whatever it is, people flock to dirt racing because it's something out of the ordinary as opposed to your traditional asphalt racing that you see on TV. It's something that's wild to them because it's a lot of people don't understand how the cars do what they do.
Yeah, and with me being with a traveling organization, you got to have racetracks for me to have my club to race at, and we're fortunate, that we got a lot of good tracks that are starting to do well. Actually, the car counts have stabilized now, where you don't really find a modified field into teens anymore. You did about 3-4 years ago. Now every track seems to be solid into the 20s again. Sportsman counts have been good. God forbid, our counts have been great. I mean, the traveling organization with ESS, our counts have been awesome this year. So, racing actually probably is stronger than it was 5 years ago if you really want to look at it. But when you do read a lot of the naysayers, unfortunately, a lot of them don't give the impression that it is. But I think racing is an upswing right here.
It seems like racing is doing just fine. The sportsman class, that it seems like the crate motor has done a lot of what it was advertised to do, which is a good move. That crate motor made it affordable for several guys to move up, and they found some success doing it. And there were some new teams that started up because of it. I mean, Rich wouldn't have been racing if he didn't have the options that he had the way that he did with the sportsman car. And then you look at all these tracks that closed for a while there. It was doom and gloom. Every time you turn around, another track was being turned into either a housing development or a Home Depot, and that is sort of stabilized, so to say. And I mean, Evans Mills is still racing that thing. How many times did the final rights were administered to that track? 3 or 4 times, and they're still up there racing.
Even tracks like Thunder Mountain and I-88 Afton. I mean, Afton had a different promoter in there. Almost seemed like every other year. And Albany-Saratoga was going to be done. If Howard Commander did not come in and now Lyle DeVore promoting it, they were done. I mean, that was going to be sitting there idle with nothing there.
I mean, I got to say, when I was traveling with the Petty driving experience, all over the U.S., there is a lot of areas in the country that racing is in a very, very sad state of affairs. And, always being able to come back up home, run a dirt car. I started seeing the same thing up here. When I started racing in 2004, it was either you make the show because you qualified and ran to get in, or you didn't make the show and you packed up and went home. And then for a bunch of years when I was down south and I'd come up and visit, there's 10, 12, 15 cars. And, it was on a real bad downswing and nobody really knew where it was going. Same thing down in Florida. A lot of the classes had 10 cars on a good night. Now Jeremy starts up a new class, the 305 sprint cars, and he's already getting 10, 12 cars, which is good to see. People are investing back into the sport, investing into the tracks, because even starting a 305 or a crate sportsman or any other type of car out there, even a street stock is going to cost you $10,000 to get going. People are investing back into this and getting back into the future of racing. I think here in the next 2-3 years, we're going to see a big boom in a lot of cars.
Well, we found some people now that realize in this day and age, the word promoter means you got to promote. Back in the late 80s, early 90s, it was simple. You can open up the gate and they would come. It was literally that simple. It's not anymore because the dollar for families, they can do other things now. There's so much stuff on TV. There's video games. There's Gen X Sports. There's, everything's going on now. That I can remember when I grew up, when Orange County Fair Speedway threw that checkered flag for the modified race on Saturday night, the only thing I could think about was going back to Orange County Fair Speedway the next Saturday night. When I grew up, that was it. That was the only thing there was to do, and play sports. This day and age, it's you look, there's not a lot of kids at the racetracks, and and that's what you need to bring back. I mean,
I'm a little bit younger than you are, and I come from a different generation, but I grew up, Danny Johnson and Gary Tompkins, Gil Teague, Kurt Van Pelt, they all drove for my uncle when I was real young. And then my dad got into the sport, and it hooked me, and it was always a part of my life. But all my friends were always, on weekends saying, hey, let's go out, let's go to a party, or let's go to the mall, let's go do this. No, I want to go to the races. Why? That's the worst thing that I saw happening was kids didn't care, didn't want to be involved. I drug a couple of my friends to the track, and, it ended up hooking them. That's the problem is nobody's willing to reach out and bring a friend to a track, and try and get somebody else involved in the sport. And that's what we kind of need more of, and we need it at a younger generation, As much as I hate to say this next thing, Danica is good for the sport.
Absolutely. The media.
Why do you hate to say that?
Yeah.
Because, you know what?
Because you got that 25% is, oh, Jesus, not Danica again. The only reason why she's got that, she got a good butt. They say it worse, but
how's that realistically? Before, I'll give you a chance here, but I got to get this first.
That is what it is over there.
Well, hey,
How? Realistically though, on the ESS tour, how's that any different when Jay-Z drives?
I tell you what,
she's good, dude, and I'm not discrediting Jessica Simpson's talent, not at all. She's a great driver, but how is that? I mean, doesn't she in essence do the same thing only on a more local level? Or Aaron Crocker with World of Outlaws?
I wish Jay-Z was on our tour full time. I mean, we have a great bunch of drivers. I mean, and big names: Cobra, Lance Young, Steve Poirier, and everything. But you know what? Jessica Zemkin probably brings a little bit more fans than any of those. It's a fact. But if it's a female population or kids that want to see a female do well, God bless it. Mm-hmm. I mean, the ratings are up in NASCAR because of Danica. The racing is still the same. It's not the best, but they are up.
I had people who know that I race, that I know they know nothing about racing, that tuned into the Daytona 500 this year because Danica was there. And that was a big thing.
And then when Juan Pablo hit the jet dryer, there became fans.
I mean, that was just a perfect storm of media that couldn't have gone any worse.
Well, you know, it was on prime time, and I felt bad for NASCAR a little bit, but you know, I don't think that hurt.
Trust me, the money they made off of just the extra exposure paid for that jet dryer. Yes. Poor Michigan, who didn't have one. But to defend my point, you know, the thing with Danica. Yes. There's nothing wrong with Danica. We need more of that in the sport. When I first started racing, I raced against Jessica in a sportsman car. Mm-hmm. And I don't care if you're male, female, black, white, anything. When we put a helmet on, we're racers. You know, it doesn't matter. But the problem is just everybody tries to give all these extra little kudos and praise. You know, if you're going to give it to Danica, give it to Dave Blaney. Give it to Ryan Blaney. Give it to the girls that are running a local late model. You don't have to just, praise her because she's the one. You know, there's plenty of other people who are way more talented than her that don't get the exposure. And, I met a girl when I was down south in Florida. She raced at New Smyrna. I wish I'd remember her name right now, but she absolutely dominated. But because her mom, her dad maybe didn't have the monetary funds to get her there,
right?
She's racing local racing.
That's a big part of it too, and this is probably something that you guys can relate to, having been involved with Richard Petty. Danica has GoDaddy pretty much wherever she goes.
Mm-hmm. They are a lifetime sponsor for her.
So I mean, why would you not on a level like that? Why would you look other places when now I got to find a sponsor? Now I got to put together a package. I got to put together a team. All this other stuff. She's coming with a sponsor. She's bringing outside money, and that's
she called Tony Stewart and said, "Hey, I want a car," and it's as simple as done.
For Danica.
Yep. I mean, it's just like Dale Earnhardt.
You can
Jr.
understand the confusion.
Well, I'm too busy looking at the internet commercials on GoDaddy, so I mean they're worth it too. But no, you're exactly right. She does come with said sponsor, and but you know what? She does have talent. I mean,
oh, absolutely.
She actually had a top 5 in that road course race this past weekend, and she actually got punted.
She was a multiple-time U.S. kart champion. I mean, so. It's not, you can't get to these levels without having talent. I mean, I know everybody argues the whole junior thing. The big thing is, I personally, like with the Danica thing, I think everybody puts too much pressure on her. You know what?
Right.
Okay, she's a woman. She has to win. She'll get there. She's going to do well, but it's everybody around her that's putting all this unneeded pressure. Let her develop, let her blossom into the racer that she is. I think it was a better move for her to come over to the NASCAR side.
And I think she's handled it well.
I do, too.
Because she's had her moments. Especially when she gets
storming
taken out.
down pit road.
Oh, yeah. But you know what? I mean, NASCAR, the media is probably 5 times more than the IndyCar series. Oh, and I think she's actually handled it very well. I really do.
That's one page you didn't take out of Tony Stewart's book.
No. But you got to give Tony Stewart credit. Every opportunity,
I love Smoke. Absolutely.
He plugs Hoosier.
So,
well, we're right around 10 of 8 now. We're a little late for John. We want to try and get him on the line. We'll give that a spin, and we'll see what we can do there.
Yeah, I called Larry about 4 times and never got through.
I texted him, too, and I had his number out. Possible that he forgot. I mean,
damn kid.
This is a busy time of year. Fresh off that stuff with the late model, and he's got to get ready for this weekend. And he's putting together a sprint car. You were saying,
yes, he's going to be at Utica Rome on Sunday and Rolling Wheels on Tuesday, so he will be with us.
Wasn't he at the Fulton opener for one of the shows?
Yeah, he ran the Fulton opener, and he ran with us at Can-Am for our opener.
How'd he do?
Yeah. He's done very well. He's actually his first time ever in a sprint car was with us last year. Fulton finished 4th. Never sat in a sprint car.
And I think he was 5th or something like that.
Yeah.
Last time out with
and then
in
at
Fulton.
Can-Am, he was, he was top 15. It was a tough track. Started in the back, and Utica Rome did very well, too. I mean, he does love the sprint car. We always talk about that. So he does.
Try Larry one more time, just for the heck of it. We got people online that are begging for it, so we'll try it one more time just for Sunny.
Are they all female?
I like to think so.
Hey, we gotta get female audience involved. I mean, that's why I'm here, right?
That's why. Yep.
Yeah, you're the beauty of the show.
Absolutely. I'll go with that. So.
You've got the face for radio, my friend.
Wow.
Ouchie. No, I like this though, straight on, because you go like. I know you can't hear me, but you go like that. No, that's not good.
Posty told me to take a shot at you, so.
Oh, that's okay. Take a few.
Dean's used to be in a punching bag.
Oh, I mean, I wish I could fit in this chair, but it's twice the size for me. It's just, so Rich,
And that's a no-go on
That's
Larry.
no. Okay.
We'll try John.
Why don't we try to track down John? Because I
know we got some people listening, because Craig Vavell, I'm sure, has got some friends on listening and watching with us as well. And Craig actually does Mohawk's website.
Yep.
So
Craig will be excited. Craig has been a feeder for us like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah,
with the stable of drivers that he has and everybody that he has helped.
I think him and Jay
show,
Fish
man.
are the two busiest guys in racing about now. So, yeah. Which is good. I mean, Jay now with the Hall of Fame and Craig doing all the websites for the tracks and the drivers and everything else. He's doing a real good job. So
once you get him on the horn, if you want, you can pass the phone over here, and what I'll do is I'll put it on speakerphone and I'll juggle that.
Can't read your own writing there. What's going on?
That's not the first time they can't read your own writing.
I've been there. So, but no, it's Larry's done very well in the sprint car, and he does enjoy it. The big thing is he had to get it past his mom, because it was funny. Because last year, after he finished fourth there at the ESS show, we were down at the local establishment.
John, Justin,
and
31st lap. How you doing?
It's funny.
Whoops!
There you go. Mute the wrong guy. See how you are? And it was funny because was talking with his dad, and we yelled out, "We're buying a sprint car!" And his mom heard it, and she goes, "Oh no, we're not." But I guess evidently it worked out. So hey, we got a guest.
We got somebody.
Cool.
John, it's Chris. Dean's on the line as well. I just wanted to say welcome to the 31st lap.
I need it as painful or painless as possible.
That's just fine. We'll work with you on that.
How you doing, John? So, John, this is Dean. Thanks again for coming on. I know we talked during the week, and it's always interesting to get a promoter's view of racing, and we actually talked about Mohawk a little bit earlier about the improvements. Mohawk, I believe, opened up in '88. I believe it was called Frogtown International because it's actually located on Frogtown Road, and it was built by the two hands of Dennis White. But the track has struggled as the times went on, and everyone's getting modern. And now John came aboard with his partner Don Thompson, and John, you probably dumped too much money that you want to even know about. But man, what a showcase!
Yes, it has been not just the money, but the time and effort that it took both of us, as far as and still as it goes on. Just one continuous. I know a lot of people still to this day refer to it as Frogtown, and it's hard to get rid of the name. But like I said, the place has changed.
You started with the bathrooms. We saw that, and then
thank God.
Yeah, the bathrooms are amazing. The bathrooms, and then they just did everything. New grandstands, Musco lighting. They even have Musco lighting in the pits. New front stretch wall, new catch fence. The concessions are all brand new. It's now a work of art, and it's something you got to be proud of.
Yes, well, it has been. Like I said, the way it started out initially is we tried to put together a budget to try and change one piece at a time. Unfortunately, when we took apart one, unfortunately everything kind of fell apart with it. So we had to change everything, and I honestly believe we've even modified the track arrangement a little bit, and even with the surface. I don't know if people remember, but of the old Fort Covington Speedway, working together with Kerry Tarrant and ResX Racing, he acquired the land, and he did a real good deal for us as far as getting that clay put onto our racetrack. And it's been, if you go back to last year's Super Dirt Series races, I don't remember the last time ever hearing of anyone able to run a soft in a 100-lapper, which is,
wow,
made for some great racing.
I know when we bring our sprint cars up there, they love running the track because it's all out and it's multi-grooved. And Mohawk has a unique circular shape, so you're not off the gas almost anywhere around that track, and it's really a lot of fun. But John, you used to race. You were a race driver. You were actually Mohawk's champ in 2008. Did you enjoy running that track yourself when you were behind the wheel of the small block?
Well, to be honest with you, I drove by that place so many years because they had changed to what we all call race car drivers is a heavy surface, and you beat on your equipment. And I used to race over at Can-Am. Then when we acquired the place, we worked with Jeremy Corcoran to work on the surface, and now we're working with AJ Baker. And the surface has become a lot harder and smoother, so you're not getting out of the car no more at the end of the night, wiped right out because it's white knuckle racing, and you don't know who you're going to run into. And I'm sure the racers can appreciate it. If you notice, that's why I believe honestly our car count has come back around. It's been a nice, smooth, easy surface on the cars. It's nice. You can get done Friday night, pull it out Saturday morning, and use the air hose and blow off the car and go racing Sunday. And that's
John, I can tell you from the side of being a driver, currently, and I race where Jeremy actually takes care of the track now down at Canandaigua. At the end of the night when you can bring a car in, it's not 300 pounds of mud on it at the end of the night and all your doors and your fenders caved in. It's a nice feeling, having a little bit of a dry, slick track really does bring the racing out in drivers because you're going to get the guys who have that experience on the dry, slick that'll be coming from the back to the front. And it's just, it's nice to see that where you just don't have as heavy of a track it is and it becomes a train race.
Yeah, and it's, it makes for especially with the fans and that's who we're all trying to entertain, and when you can get 3 wide racing, sometimes 4, that's the goal, and the flip side to this, the whole situation for a promoter, anytime you have a heavy track, well, I guess at the end of the year, you're looking at maybe 100, 200 loads of clay to replace all the clay that got taken off and taken on the road with the race cars. So, trying to keep everybody happy as long, even with the promoter.
Now, John, we talked at the Parts Peddler auction, and this year is a big change for you. You came up to me and says, "I'm hanging up the helmet because I want to concentrate on the promotion end of Mohawk and just fully do that." You do have a car. Timmy Fuller drives it a little bit for you, but you're not behind the wheel. So how's that been for you this year?
Well, I'll tell you, I miss putting on the helmet because it was a lot easier. But, no, it's just been different. I've been concentrating more with my daughters. Time for me to quit chasing my dreams, time to chase theirs, and I've been tied up a lot with girls lacrosse in our own community here. So, any time away from the racetrack, if we're not in the office or at the track working, I've been on the field with my daughters. So, it's kind of, I never heard NASCAR call, so I said time for me to grow up.
They may have got the wrong number. That might just be what it was.
John, we got to go back to when we had our event there in June. If everyone saw the photos, we had the ESS sprint cars there, and the Go Nuclear late models are there, plus this whole complete classes of modifieds and everything. And we had a wall cloud come to the track, and we were literally sitting there waiting to see if a funnel will come out of this wall cloud. I kid you not. If you look at my Facebook and Mallett's Facebook and everything, that I'm not making this up. It was a wall cloud. It finally hit the track. It sleeted, and then it turned to full, almost golf ball size hail for 15 straight minutes.
I saw it on your Facebook. Yeah. It was just a black wall.
Yeah, it's amazing. But John Lazore did not pull the plug on this show. We were still going to try to get it in. What nerves and what decisions, John? I know what they were because I was side by side with you, but tell the listeners what goes through your mind on that, because you got a pit full. I mean, probably the largest field ever at Mohawk in the pits. And you got this weather coming in, and you wanted to go on with the show. What was going on through your head on that?
Well, first of all, as it slowed down, my first thought, unfortunately, even for myself, I've been to races 6 hours away and had to tow all the way home for nothing. And then to have to go back, I have to, you look at the price of fuel now, and I tried everything I could, everything in our power. Me and Dean were talking right along, and unfortunately, the plug had to be pulled for the simple fact for the safety of a sprint car driver, because I know how quick they have to come into the pits, and that's where our question mark came into, because we were able to work the track in, and I thought it was going to come around, but then that last shower
just a 5-minute little
spray. I just feel bad for all the fans, especially the race car drivers to have to tow up to 6 hours. I know how that feels. And then you have the fan that, they're unsure if they want to come out or whatever. So that's why, for my decision to bring the nuclear back along with the sprints on July 6th, they're getting more than their money's worth as far as, we got the fireworks and a Chevrolet 50-lap Frenchie series on that night. So they're getting more bang for their buck, and it was a real tough deal, to see the people come in and to not have a promoter try to do something for it. I couldn't do that, but unfortunately Mother Nature wouldn't cooperate with me, and so to reschedule, talked with Dean on July 20th to have the sprint.
Yeah, we're coming back for the second show. Yes.
Under Lazore's construction and Tarbell Management Group, I thought that was a perfect opportunity to give our area of 2 nights of ESS. We have fans around here that follow the ESS religiously, and they love it. So I thought that was a more appropriate thing to do.
During the weather delay, and I'll call it weather delay because I've never saw anything like that. I tell you, though, it is such a fun atmosphere at Mohawk. By the way, and this is good to my heart, Mohawk has the best bar at any racetrack, and that's very important to me. And, John, you better keep that open late on July 6th because you'll make some money off me.
It's very important.
It's very important to me.
Yeah.
But the fans were coming in literally at 8:30, 9 o'clock. None of them left. They were all staying there and having a great time, and that just shows how far this track's come along.
Yes, and like we were saying, when me and Dean were on the track, looking at puddles and puddles of water, front stretch, a quarter under the track, and the continued help and support from our track crew as well as any race car driver that would go out. As a promoter, just like, yes, it's going to work. And then down come the showers again, and it's just kind of a tough deal there. And, it's just, what do you do,
It's good.
Like I said, after a long night like that, some people have to drive, but for the people that don't, the bar was there.
Yes, it was. It was busy.
It's good to see you put the work in because, nobody ever thinks about this fact, all the diesel fuel you guys are burning, going around out there trying to pack the track, and nobody ever takes that into account. So, hats off to you guys for doing whatever you could do to at least try to get the show in. Now,
John, you got the sprint cars coming twice, and
you have to look at the driver that drove, to take get out of work early and to try and come and race with us and to support Dean and ESS, as well as our late models. I totally feel for them. Like I said, the shoe has also been on the other foot. That's where, I hear a lot from the race car drivers. They all come up and, I know how they feel. You just try and one at a time to make everybody happy. It might take a little bit longer than it's supposed to, but hopefully we'll get it to where, we always do our best to try and please every driver.
John, you got this ESS coming twice and then nuclear late models, but you also have a big year-end weekend in September with the small blocks and the big block trail series races. How's that been turning out for you?
Well, it's actually turned out good because what is happening is it's starting to turn into an event, and between us, I've always looked forward to the World Week in September, and to do something like that as far as the race car drivers. We know we'll never get to rolling wheels as far as the premier drivers coming out, but to have that around for our community when Frogtown was Frogtown, and that's why the first year after we renovated the track, we brought the big blocks back for 2 races. It was because there was such a dry spell. I think Frogtown went 20 years without the big blocks here, and to have them back on a yearly basis, at the end of the season,
I never realized that.
I thought was most fitting for, all my racing community around here.
Well, I didn't realize the big blocks haven't been there in 20 years. That's amazing. Now, I tell you, I appreciate it because I do get to go up to Mohawk at least once or twice a year with the ESS. But fans in Central New York, if they have if you have an opportunity to go on up to Mohawk, definitely do it. You'll enjoy yourself. They got the casino right there on the reservation. It's the Akwesasne reservation, so there's plenty of things to do as well. Just to bring the whole family, go to races on Friday and do a couple things on Saturday if you like, and it's a fun area.
I haven't had the pleasure of racing up there yet, but I've heard Jeremy Corcoran talk very highly of the place. So.
It is amazing. They've done a great job. John, anything else you want to add before we go on to Lance Young? Anything you want to say?
Give you a chance to give you just.
I hope to, like I said, we're going to see you July 6th, and I'm hoping get the word out there. We have not initially, because me and Dean had worked together to try and bring them back for July 20th, just to let people know. July 20th, Lazore's construction night and Tarbell Management Group night. We will have the ESS along with a full regular show. Just hoping to help publicize that.
And John, you make sure that Lazore Construction pays their sponsorship dollars. That's up to you. John, it was thank you for joining us. I know the people up in the North Country, hopefully they tuned in, and I know this is kind of like your first time ever doing something like this with an interview, and it was always great to have you on. And we wish you the best, and we'll see you next Friday. Okay,
thank you very much. Hope to see you soon.
Thanks, John.
a lot, John.
Yep, no problem.
There goes John Lazore.
I tell you, Chris, I know I mentioned to you, John at first didn't want to come on the show because he goes, I will get so tongue-tied, it's not my cup of tea.
He did fine.
But the thing was, he actually then called me after that, and he says, you know what, I need to do this. If I'm going to be up front and be the forefront promoter of the track, I need to do this. And I said, absolutely. And the thing that I wanted people to know is that when we saw that wall cloud come, it's not every day you see a wall cloud coming at a racetrack. And, of course, stupid us, we're sitting there looking at the darn thing instead of trying to think, and a funnel cloud actually did touch down across the St. Lawrence in Cornwall.
Really?
Yeah, we kid you not. That's what we were looking at for weather-wise. And then after all that hit, and there's probably an inch accumulation of hail on the ground when we got done, and yet he still tried to get the show in. It was just amazing.
Bust out the snowmobiles. Let's go.
It was amazing.
They got
a
good promotion staff up there. I know Craig Ravel does a lot of work with them, and you always see his releases out on Dirt Track Digest and a bunch of the other affiliates, and he does very good work.
Well, the whole area is built up with the casino. They got the bingo hall now. They got a beautiful hotel up there. I mean, it's a great place to spend a weekend now, and I think that helps out with the racetrack. So
you know what they always say: racing's not a sport; it's a lifestyle, and you can make it into a long weekend
and a good party. At least I try. Should we try to get Sir Young? Chris, what do you think?
Let's get Lance on the phone. We'll do that
because I'm sure his wife is probably listening in. I would think, or
we got a couple. we got a couple notes here that some people want us to just touch base on. Obviously, 360 Sprint Car is going to be in action this Friday at Black Rock Speedway as well. Mm-hmm. They got a big show. I passed all sorts of lines, all sorts of signs on the way down to Watkins Glen, and then we can't forget the Tom Ames show.
Yes,
we'll probably get into that here in a little bit. I'd like to actually get some thoughts from Lance about that as well. Thankfully, he was right there curbside waiting by the phone, so we'll be able to get Lance on here in just 1 second, trying to juggle all the wires and connections and stuff. This is, if you ever listen to the show and you hear Mike talk about he wants something to tap the phone line directly in, it's so that we don't have to do this circus.
Yeah, I tell you though, I love that $9.99 Walmart phone. I gotta love that. That thing is sick.
It does its job. It's doing exactly what we want it to do. That's
I gotta say, after being on the show 2-3 weeks ago, thinking it was a lot different, I didn't know you guys were just passing the phone back and forth.
Well,
hey,
usually
this
what we do
is
Rich is over there in the corner. And
in his big chair.
In the big chair.
It didn't look very big on the podcast with Rich.
Well, because of course it was dwarfed. He would get up and he would head out into the hall. He'll call somebody, and you never know if you're going to have reception or not. So he'll call him. He might be gone for a minute or two. He'll pop his head back in. Once he gets him, he'll walk around, and he'll pass the phone off, or he'll hang on to it or whatever, and we'll go from there. And you now have a new appreciation for the magic that is this. And
I'm out. Done.
There you go. Double your pay, though.
Yeah.
So. Lance Young joining us on the line. Lance, welcome to the 31st lap. Not a problem. Thanks for stopping by here and making some time to hang out with us tonight. Talk a little bit about the season and where things are going. And I know Dean is over there just itching to get a hold of you. He's got a whole list of questions for you ready to go.
Well, it is.
Have too many. He talks to me every week.
Well, we did have 1 week off, Lance. What'd you do for your off week?
Actually worked on a sprint car motor.
Is that the one you heard up at Granby?
Oh, I haven't done too awful much work on that. We ended up having some little issues with the one that we run at the Valley, the fresh one. So we ended up taking the injection off and doing a little bit of work on that. But everything should be good to go for Saturday. Now,
Lance, fourth in points right now. You said you want to get another championship. You've got 2 titles so far with ESS. But a unique situation, and I don't know what the guy was thinking when he does a schedule, and be why. But we got 5 races in 8 nights, and how does Lance Young prepare for 5 races in 8 nights?
Well, it's been busy at the shop this week. Last night I just worked on tires, and they said we had that motor issue that we think we've got solved now. So
we're just having one motor right now. It's going to be a kind of race-to-race deal. Hopefully, you can survive all 5 of them, and go night to night basically, and hope we can get some good runs in there.
Now, on Tuesday, we're at Rolling Wheels, and as Chris mentioned, the Tom Ames dedication with the Pro Stock race and everything. But for ESS, this is our first full point show at Rolling Wheels since 1993, believe it or not. We've always been part of challenge races. By the way, Lance Young won that race in 1993. But, Lance, to be at Rolling Wheels and be a headline, and I've been with the club for 20 years, you've been with the club for 21, this has got to be a special deal for all of us.
It is, it's great to have a standalone show there, like you say, a point deal, and hopefully history will repeat itself, and we'll be in victory lane at the end of the night. But, Rolling Wheels is always a special place. It's close to home, and I love racing there. Our results haven't been all that well there since I won that race, but, we're always right there, and hopefully this week maybe we can bring her home first.
Now, I mentioned myself 20 years. 21 years, Lance. When you jumped from the small blocks and the big blocks from, what was Dundee back then, now Black Rock and Canandaigua, did you ever think you'd still be in a sprint car 21 years later?
No, well, I guess I was always hoping that. I had a big joke going with my wife that by the time she turned 50 years old, I'd be done racing, but that's since come and gone, and I'm still racing. So,
Chrissy's
I still enjoy what I'm doing. I enjoy working on the race car. The trailing gets tough a little bit here and there, but, I still enjoy going to the races, and I love being part of ESS. So as long as it's still fun for me, we're going to keep doing it.
Now, fourth in points, we said it's a different year in ESS with Cobra with work commitments and family commitments. Already missed a couple races, and Steve Poirier, unfortunately, with his knee injury. It's kind of a wide open year, and there's a chance for a new winner or yourself or Justin to repeat. Kind of a different year with ESS.
Yeah, it is a different year. I wish I could have the 2 bad nights that I've got back. If we could had the night back with Blue Motor and the week before when he crashed at Utica there. I think I'd be right there with Justin. The car's been super good this year. We've been able to start in the back, which we do most every week because I can't draw. But we've passed a lot of cars. The car has been super. So Justin's got a pretty good lead right now, but his luck could always turn too. So after Justin, like you say, it's all wide open. We're all pretty close, and we're going to keep on shooting for that championship.
If you do get it, be your 3rd championship, and right now you're tied for 3rd in the overall win list with Mal Lane, who you raced with. What's that mean to you to be tied with Mal Lane?
That was a special night, the night that I won that race.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it was a weeds for it, and tied Malcolm. I was kind of hoping that we'd have another victory to surpass him by now, but we'll keep working towards that. It is special to be related to Malcolm and to drive for Malcolm for the years that I did, and and Malcolm, the whole Lane family is a big part of our family, and it's a special thing to be tied with him. Of course, he won those races in a lot less years than it took me, but times were different back then, so we'll keep plugging and try to. Hopefully, we can get ahead of him here this year.
Now, over the years, you had some big wins. The Drummondville win that paid you $6,000 to win. But if people remember, ESS and URC ran 360s on the mile, and Lance won the first race. Is that still your biggest win in 360, Lance?
Oh yeah, Syracuse is a special place, and to get that win up there, it was we built a car dedicated to that track and that race, and the car was just flawless right from the first time we hit the track with it. So that's always going to be probably the biggest win ever. It's just the aura of Syracuse and the whole deal up there. And, I wish we could have repeated the next year, but things didn't go our way. So, but I still got that win in 2000. They can never take that one away from me.
Now, this Saturday, we're going back to Merrittville, first time in 3 years. You got a win there as well. Feel good to get back to Merrittville? It's a tricky D shape. It's a lot of fun.
I've always run well there, Actually, I think I got a couple wins there, but that's beside the point. Something about that track, it's that slowing down into turn 4 is a very tricky place, but I've always been able to get around that place pretty good, so I'm really looking forward to Saturday night.
Now, you're not going to yell at me for doing the Merrittville Utica Rome swing, are you?
Merrittville Centerville, Utica Rome wouldn't be so bad, but Utica Rome's got to start so early in the afternoon. That's what makes it tough. So, it's not bad for me because I live, halfway back to Utica. So, but some of them guys going to be a tough haul for them. But I'm sure we'll all do it.
I know with the 5 races coming up, I'm actually looking forward to it. And I know, Mallett even tried to rent out a track to get a 6th race so we can make it a full sprint speed week. I said, let's get through this one first before we can start looking ahead. But 5 races in 8 nights, 5 great tracks. I know we're going to have a lot of cars. Even Jeff Van Duzen's coming back up from Florida to run with us for a couple of nights. Yeah, Bobby Pedalic is coming to run Rolling Wheels. He's actually going to jump back in a sprint car.
I was looking when I was doing those flyers for Amy's Checkered Flag, and we got to make sure we mention that to Lance.
Lance,
too.
yes, absolutely. Yeah.
When we were putting that stuff together, I inadvertently referenced one of the first sprint car races I remember working on was Bobby Pedalic's win. He was in that green number 7. It was like 2003, one of the first ones that really stood out. So we did the flyers and stuff and the releases for Amy's Checkered Flag. I referenced Bobby Pedalic, and it was John, and I got a frantic phone call from a couple different people saying, "You're an idiot." And so yeah, I gotta make sure we go through and on the subsequent releases we'll correct that. But Lance, make sure you're free on the 12th. It's a Thursday night, 12th of July. You got to get to Amy's Checkered Flag. We're having a live show up there.
Okay, I'll certainly put her down, see what we can do.
Bring the car up.
Yeah, we might be able to do that, too. I don't know. Do we race that weekend, Dean?
Well, we're hoping. That's the Glen Ridge weekend coming up. I actually talked to them today, and right now the plan is to go on that Sunday. They want to get through this Sunday just to make sure. But, yeah, we do have time. It will be just Sunday at Glen Ridge if we do, so we'll, you definitely got some time.
Hey, Dean, got a couple questions.
All we need is some time.
Couple questions for you, Dean. Being that you came from the modifieds, went over to the sprint cars, do you wish you would have done a difference starting in sprint cars? Do you wish you would have stayed in modifieds a little longer? We've seen a lot of the guys that run modifieds now making that transition over to the sprints.
Actually, I think that was for you, Lance. You called me Dean.
Oh, sorry.
Lance is the other guy on the phone.
That was for me. I never did that kind of transition.
I'm looking down, reading a paper.
Dean's a good-looking guy in front of you.
I had a lot of fun, especially in the small block modifieds, but I came really close to buying a sprint car in '89 when I went big block racing, and it was kind of a flip of the coin, and the big block won, So if I could do things over again, I would certainly skip the 3 years I spent in big blocks and go right to a sprint car. Like I say, you survived 21 years in this deal. Basically, I drove for Malcolm for 6 years, but all the rest of that time's been on my own, and I certainly would not have been able to do that in a modified. So, no regrets on how things have turned out, and hopefully, I'd like to say there's 21 more, but I don't think there is, so.
You never know, Lance. Come on, you never know. Look at George Ely.
I'm definitely lucky enough, Lance, Scott Benedict right next to us, a good friend of yours, is always, keeping us up to date on how you're running and everything. So, it's good to hear that you're running well. We always like to hear that.
Well, that's good. I appreciate that. Every time I talk to Scott, he always keeps me updated on you guys, too. And I thought you guys were going to get a sprint car deal going there, but I guess that hasn't happened yet.
Well, that is potentially forthcoming,
Well, why do you think, Lance, he's asking you all these questions about if he would have done it?
I was wondering why he's doing it.
That's all right.
My dad's definitely been really kind of, chumming the waters with that. He's really interested in, the 305 deal that Jeremy's put together, to get his feet wet in the sprint cars. We're at that impasse right now. Do we go big block? Do we go sprint car? What do we do? Leaning out to guys like yourself and people who've done this a lot, in the past, and you've made that transition. It's good to ask people like that and get their opinion. So I had to pose that question to you.
I was wondering why you were asking that. So,
well, I can tell you firsthand. Like I said, there's no way I would have survived 20 years running a big block modified, and here I am 20 years later in a sprint car, and not that things are any easier now. I mean, it's travel expenses and all that stuff. It's just as tough now, if not tougher. But you can make enough money with a sprint car to keep surviving week to week. So like I said, no regrets.
Well, Lance, I like to say thanks for coming on. With Chris and Justin here, and it's always good to have you aboard. You and your family dedicated to racing for so long, and we really do appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you guys. Without some of your guys' help, none of it would be possible. So, we appreciate everything you guys do.
Anybody that you want to recognize before we let you go?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Oh, you got to thank everybody, involved. My family that lets me do this, my wife and daughter, they're behind me with all the U.S. racing, you know, they've pretty much given up on Canada, but they'll go to all the U.S. races with me. So, you know, my mom and dad, you know, I've got a bunch of good sponsors, starting out with Malcolm Lane. He's helped me every year that I've ever been behind the wheel of a race car. Malcolm's been behind me, and, you know, a whole bunch of sponsors, Johnson Farms, Kurt Shuttleworth, Ryan Daly. You know, those are the guys that make this whole deal possible. So without them, it wouldn't be done.
A lot of good people.
We sure appreciate you coming on, and I hope to see you. Wish you the best of luck first before we let you go. Wish you the best of luck over there with the ESS show at Rolling Wheels. It's a great cause over there. Get over there early. If you got any junk panels or anything, bring them over. They're having that auction.
Mallett's already got them all.
Yeah, he's got everything.
He's got them all.
He's got everything.
Tell him to stop by my shop. We tore up a little earlier this year.
And we sure hope to see you on the 12th over at Dean's Checkered Flag.
All right. Like I said, I'll put her down and see what we can do to get there.
Thanks a lot.
All right, Lance. Take care.
All right, guys.
We'll see you Saturday.
See you.
Bye.
I tell you, with the the influx of ESS, with even higher dollar teams have come in over the 20 years that Lance has been with us. Lance is always, he still works on the car mostly by himself. You know, during the week he has a couple people maybe help out a little bit here and there. Sometimes he'll drive to the race by himself, pick up a crew guy at the track, and then drive all the way back by himself. But like he says, he still does it because it's still fun to travel, and we're very lucky to have him for as long as we've had.
You know, he's at heart a racer, and he's always been a good driver. He's a clean driver, which is one of the things you always hear about him. And, you know, that goes a long way with a lot of respect from a lot of people.
Yes, it does. And he's one of the good eggs in racing. And then, if racing had all Lance Youngs around, it would be going a lot further. So.
Once again, this is the 31st lap. We go live to tape every Thursday night, and the show's up almost immediately after, so be sure to check us out. If you don't keep the late hours, be sure to visit FingerLakes1.com on Friday or visit podcast.fingerlakes1.com. There's a host of podcasts available, including The Sauce, starring Tony Sometimes, local music coverage with The Evolution of Eric Jensen, Tiffany Collinsworth's Finger Lakes Look Ahead, and the Sports Talk Jocks, Dog and Polly, which goes up every Wednesday. If you want to see it as it happens, visit FingerLakes1.tv and look up the 31st lap. If any of our listeners want to call in, feel free to ring us at 315-729-3999. You can get links to all that stuff right online at 31stlap.com.
Damn, you did that good. That's impressive.
Dude, that was just fluid.
That was impressive. After 34 shows, you got it.
34 shows, yeah. Yep.
Solid, man.
He's just now that guy.
He is that guy. You know, I didn't.
Listen, about the only thing that I did right at a lot of racetracks was that kind of stuff.
Am I going to be the first one in 34 shows that actually has to take a bathroom break?
Seriously? Well, that's because you're old. I mean,
that and actually.
Well, actually, you've been.
I think they make pills for that frequent urination.
I just brought the show down about 18 levels by saying bathroom break, but it's
if you want, what we can do, if you want to split, if you want to go, we got to get Roy Sova on the phone.
Yep.
We'll wait for you to get back, because I know that we talked a little bit about this and you thought it was cool, so I want to make sure that you can at least be around for the conversation. In the interim, what we can do is we can do that stuff from down at Watkins Glen now instead of later. We'll get that out of the way, give you a chance to hit
Look at that. There we go.
That's why I'm the producer.
It's why he's got the number one mic and we got 3 and 4.
Yeah, I know.
Or 2 and 4. Like I was saying earlier, I was picking on Jim because the microphones are out of order. In my head, they should go 1, 2, 3, 4.
Absolutely,
or 1, 2,
just
3,
like
4.
going around a racetrack.
Whichever way, I don't care.
Yeah.
So, and I'm saying, they're out of order. I'm not even for sure which place number 3 is. And I said, and it's not going to be hard to fix. You just need to take these 4 plugs right here and rearrange them so that it's 1, 2, 3,
and they actually
4.
Have colors on them too. Look at that.
Well, only half have colors. These have colors here, but I don't think they have colors on the ends by you guys. Yours does, but these 2 don't. So I don't know if he's gone through and rearranged these or not.
Nice.
It could be entertaining, though.
We could just start unplugging stuff. It's fine. What's the worst that can happen?
Speaking about unplugging stuff, I'll be back.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll let Dean go ahead and take a quick pit stop. I had the chance, found out through the Finger Lakes Times that there was going to be some opportunities to ride in a 2-seat program with Continental Tire. They've got Grand Am weekend down there. We got down there and things weren't going the smoothest, but I'm thinking, okay, so we're gonna go down, we're gonna ride in a 2-seat car, go putt around the track, whatever, no big deal. I was wrong.
Oh yeah.
I got there, Continental Tire says, "Oh, so you're here to cover it? You get to interview all the people that are riding in the car." And I'm thinking, whatever. I'm already down here. Whatever. We could talk a little bit more. Turns out they thought the sports editor from the Finger Lakes Times was still coming. He'd canceled, and I took his spot. So I got the chance to ride in the car. The 2-seater was a Daytona prototype.
Oh, they did that during the 24 hours when I was down in Daytona working, and those things are just absolutely incredible.
There's guys that are coming back and they're shaking, their hands are quivering and stuff, and they're trying to peel themselves out of the car, and they're a wreck. I mean, it's like they've had an emotional breakdown. And I'm talking with Brad Frizzell, who owns the car. He goes, "Yeah, we're only pushing it like 70%." Halfway through the rotation, they had to change tires because the car was starting to get a vibration in the left front because they were pushing the car so hard going through all the turns. It was wearing out the left front tire. So they had to change tires. And I said, we got talking. It's a Ford power plant in a Dallara chassis. It's pushing out about 550 horsepower. They're doing the long course in about 2.5 minutes, somewhere around there. They were flying.
Oh, absolutely.
It's 70%.
No, yeah, no. Just think if that was just a standard one-seater car and they were digging.
Yeah, they were throwing us around pretty good. It was a lot of fun. I put together when I got home. Put together this. And what we were going to do is we were going to go ahead and show everybody a little bit about what was going on down there. Forgive me on the audio levels. I did not get a chance to balance everything, so we'll just go ahead and pull that down. There we go. So we were at Watkins Glen, and it was the Grand Am Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge. It was a ball being down there, and they're getting ready for the Salem 6 Hour of the Glen, which is coming up this weekend. That's the car right there. That is the hot rod, the Continental Tires Daytona prototype, spilling off down into turn one. Like we were talking, it was topping out right around 160 miles an hour on the back stretch. Special Glen March tires. They went through a set of racing tires, and they had the gull-wing doors, and this was a car that finished 5th in 2010 at the 24 Hours of Daytona, and there was not much room in the cockpit whatsoever.
No, those cars are built for little guys.
Yeah.
Are we doing a video now? I hear music.
Yeah, this is a video.
Sweet, yeah. We need little pop things right here so we can see what's going on. Oh, look at that! He's turning the thing around
a little bit.
There you
so
go.
I can see it.
Now you're riding, correct?
I was in one of the cars. Yeah. I got together with Andrew and Dustin Earl and Alan Earl. That's Cheryl from the Finger Lakes Times.
So you were doing the Darrell Waltrip screaming outside.
I bet you screamed like a girl the whole time.
Right here. I brought my camera, and if you notice right here on the dash, there's a spot for a GoPro. I got a GoPro at home. I didn't bring it. I didn't even think they were going to let me bring the camera in, but I brought the camera. They let me bring it in the car, and I got thrown around like a freaking rag doll. It was unbelievable.
That was one of the big things we never allowed when I was down at Petty, is we never let people keep cars in the cameras because they become projectiles if they let them go.
Yep. And this is coming up. This is at the top of the S's. We're just about ready to go down the back.
This is where your soiled underwear came in, right, Chris?
No,
I got to tell you, just from watching the video, they're more than 70% right there.
Yeah, he was driving the heck out of that car and hitting the rumble strips. He'll slam on the brakes and to slam your head so far forward it'll bounce off the roll bars. And you're in a full fire suit and a helmet and everything.
They have you in a Hans or no?
No.
That's smart.
Right here I was confused.
No one to miss him, don't worry.
Because he turned left. And I forgot we were going down into the boot. Coming out of that one turn was neat. His dad was annoyed when I got out of the car because he goes, "Well, what'd you think?" And I said, "Well, he probably could have pushed a little harder going to the bus stop, but other than that, he did fine." And I was making a joke, of course, and that's apparently not the thing to joke about with guys like this. But
well, $1.5 million for one car, they don't really take it as a joke.
No, but I had an absolute ball. Here we are coming. This is back up back up through the boot. We're going to turn back up. You can see the grandstands again there. It was amazing to be in that car, the way that he was throwing it around like that. I mean, the thing is just stuck. It's like it was Velcro. And you're thinking, it's an 8x4, so he's got 32 square inches on 4 spots holding this car with 550 horsepower, and the thing weighs like 2,300 pounds.
And a guy that just wants to make it get louder and louder.
Yeah. The only reason this is coming up into the final turn before we go down the front stretch, the only reason that he's there is to scare the hell out of you.
Absolutely. Hey, you got to.
He did fine.
I had that job for 5 years. I got to tell you, it was the coolest thing I ever got to do.
What do you think? Smoke took that late model 3 inches away from the wall so Waltrip can reach out and touch it.
Right.
I was waiting for him to actually just stuff it in the fence. I figured he was going to see if he could scare Darrell a little more.
The cool thing about this ride along, and we're going to talk to Roy Sova a little bit, and we'll talk about the 2-seater up there in the IRL 2-seater or the World of Outlaws 2-seater.
Which, by the way, has gotten upside down once.
You're in line. You got to fight the G-forces to see around anything. This, you're on the same plane as the driver. And this car, when he's going through these turns, this is a race car. Legit race car. It's not like it's a show car that's been converted. It's got all the onboard telemetry and stuff, and they were running the ratings on it in the pit still, on the boxes. They were pulling 2.5 Gs when they were going through some of these corners.
Yeah, the Indy driving experience that the Petty crew owns now, they have a couple old retired Indy cars that what they do is they'll lengthen them a little bit, but they'll put the passenger seat just a couple inches higher, so you're actually looking right over the driver's head. And, it's an odd feeling. Davey Hamilton was down there when I was there giving rides, and, his goal was to see if he could make somebody scream loud enough where he could hear him in front of him.
Right.
I don't know if he ever had that happen, but he definitely scared a lot of people.
We got to give some recognition to Davey Hamilton there. He's done the two-seater ride up there at Oswego, and he said that was more fun than the IRL car.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. That was.
Wow.
I mean, that's a compliment to Oswego.
I'd still like to go around Indy, though.
I've gotten to drive Indy and kiss the bricks.
Oh, you suck.
Yeah, when I was with Petty, once again, one of the very great things I got to do, I got a picture kissing the bricks and got to drive there in a cup car.
You got this man's phone number? Can I text this dude, Mr. Petty?
Yeah, sure. 1-800-B-PETTY.
Solid.
Hey, he beat you to the first plug.
Yeah, oh, God. Hey, no, I came in here sans plugs today, so there you go. By the way, I do got some updates from Mallett at the Circuit of Champions. Winner of Heat 1 was Cole Duncan over Logan Schuhart. Heat 2, Lee Jacobs over Danny Smith. And Heat 3 was Caleb Helms over Danny Holtgraver. So Mallett's doing his live tweets. And by the way, he did text and said, hope the show's going well. And I texted him back, it's going better.
That's nice.
Absolutely.
I texted him that I missed him.
Oh, it's going to be hugs.
I don't have his number, so I'm not texting him.
Don't worry, we can give it to you in a minute.
No, I'm good.
1-800-THE-SHOW.
Did you find everything? Okay.
It was good. So I went as fast as the elevator would take me, but it was quick.
That elevator was new right about 3 years before the Depression. It doesn't move. So
you ain't crapping.
The first one. I am at the first one. I don't know.
There you go.
The one that was the Great Depression.
The big one.
Nice.
If we should probably, it's right around 8:30, we should grab Roy Sova on the phone, and we'll catch up with him about this Make-A-Wish.
The voice of Oswego Speedway.
Yeah.
Steel Palace.
What Oswego's doing up there with that Make-A-Wish program, they got a 15-year-old kid, community guy, the family, they're all going to come, basically VIP treatment, and he's going to catch a ride in the two-seat Super. And Oswego's done this for a couple years now with that Make-A-Wish program, and it's just great, for racing, for Make-A-Wish, for everybody involved with it, and of course you can't forget Oswego Speedway.
Yeah, we were talking about tracks improving. That's one track that we should have never left out was Oswego. I mean, the last 2 years, what's gone on up there, it's great to see. And that track's iconic, and it's just great to see that place going.
And Danny K is doing a great job with what he's doing with what he's doing.
And it's not Kazabinski.
I know. Yeah, I'm going to call him Danny K. I can't.
There you go.
Karpinski, I believe is
something like that.
Something.
Yeah. Danny K. We'll go with Danny K.
Something closer than what I was calling him. I'll give you that. That's no lie. Right about the 1:17 mark. Make sure we put that up there for everybody. Roy Sova joining us on the phone with the 31st Lab. Roy, thanks for joining us. Did I lose you, Roy?
Glad to be with you.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're doing great. Appreciate you taking some time out of your night to come and hang out with us here on the 31st Lap and talk a little bit about Oswego Speedway. We just talked a little bit about the two-seat ride-along program that Continental Tires put on down at Watkins Glen International today. And we know that the two-seater is a big part of what you guys are doing this weekend with that Make-A-Wish deal.
Yeah, we've been doing the two-seater rides for 3 years. We've done well over 300 rides at this point, and any that is on in the year has just been ecstatic about it. It's better than any other ride-along program you got, and had it on the track since 3 years ago, and anybody that has gone in the car when they've got done, and if they've done one of the other rides, the IRL ride or the NASCAR ride or any of the others, they always say, this is so much more real than anything else they've done.
Now, why is that? Does anybody take a minute and explain to you why it's more real? What makes it more realistic versus those other adventures?
I can tell you right off the bat. For one thing, it's a real race car. It was built as a race car. It's a Hyder Hawk, which is a West Coast design, which was built by Dan Drynan, who is a Midwest car builder. It's got a 454 60 over Chevy big block in it, just like all the other supers that run in Oswego. It was raced and backed into the wall. Davey Hamilton bought it, had it stretched, and started to do the rides. What makes it different is that faster than anybody else.
in comparison to what they normally run on any track. For instance, the fastest we've gone with somebody in the car is 17.56 seconds. Now, just a comparison, the fastest cars at the end of the feature are running around 17 seconds. So we're only talking like a half a second between what they're running and what we're doing with people in the car.
That's crazy.
Wow.
When you think
wow.
You start making those comparisons, like, I can see why that's a little bit more realistic.
That's G-forces in the corner right there.
Also, we do a start the feature ride. Everybody else, like IRL, when they do a start the feature ride, they pace the field. When we do a start the feature ride, we roll the car out with everybody else. We push it off with everybody else. We run hot laps with everybody else. Then they fall in at the rear of the field, do the wave lap, take the white flag lap, run the first lap with the field, and then pull into the pits. Nobody else does that.
How is it that you guys are able to do that? I mean, is it insurance? Is it waivers? I mean, nobody else does that, and presumably it's because nobody else can. What makes?
No, it's not that. I think nobody else has thought of it. Number one, or number two, has a car that's capable of doing that. As I said, we can run within a half a second of the leader.
Right.
That car could probably finish 12th to 15th in a feature race.
Probably 8th with auto
There's very
driving.
little that separates it from, let's say, a real SuperModified. It's the three biggest differences. It's 2.5 feet longer than a regular SuperModified, but it only weighs 30 pounds more.
Wow.
It's got 68% left side weight. The track rule is 67%, but when you put somebody in the back seat, it probably goes down to like 63 or 62%.
Sure.
And the other thing is that the wing on the rear, the track rule is 36 inches. The two Super is 48 inches, so it's a little bit higher in the rear for greater downforce because you got the longer car. But you can go through the corner pretty much as fast as anybody can.
That's incredible.
You've got the extra wheelbase gives you a little bit better handling through the corners. We're hitting 135 to 140 miles an hour going into the third turn, which is the fastest part of the track. The three most often heard comments are, I can't believe they do that with 24 other cars out there. I can't believe how hard they hit the brakes. What they're talking about is coming down the front straightaway or down into turn 3, which is the fastest part of the track. When they let off the accelerator, they're not hitting the brake. It's just the engine decelerating, which gives you this tremendous feeling of they're hitting the brakes. And then the third thing is, if you sit in the grandstand, it looks like the car is running, just perfectly smooth, straight and clean. When you're in the car, you understand it's not. It's bouncing all over the track. And when you consider that you're running wheel to wheel with somebody who's doing the same thing, 5-6 inches apart, I twitch left, you twitch right, we got an accident.
Right.
So it's those three things that make it realistic that the people who have, as I say, who have done any other ride have said, wow, this is so much better.
I got to say, I worked for one of the NASCAR driving experiences as an instructor, and I've had the privilege of learning the IndyCar driving experiences from Davey, who you were talking about. If you ever need a guinea pig to sit in the car and give a real recommendation, I'd be happy to be that guy.
Okay, he's looking for a sprint car ride, a SuperModified.
You need to come over and take a ride in it sometime.
Yeah, there you go. You got an invite.
I'll bring my helmet and my Hans. I'll be up. I'll come the day after my wedding here in a month. I'm sure the wife would love that.
Justin's going to be there.
Yeah. We all the time, we want media people to come over and try it out because it is so different from anything else that's going on.
Well, we're going to be sure to keep that in mind too, Roy.
I think July 28th. Let's make the trip, guys.
Yeah, we gotta start looking at the schedule now. We can pack up that live unit. We'll do a live remote from the track, and maybe we'll get it. We'll bring the GoPros and see if we can't.
I've got all the in-car audio equipment we're going to need.
Anytime you're ready, I'm ready for you.
All right. Well, we will be taking you up on that without a doubt.
Okay.
And unfortunately, Mike, John, and Rich weren't here for it. The only people that got the invite was Dean and Justin.
That'd be great. I'll go to Oswego Saturday night and Rockethon Sunday.
Are you guys running on July 28th? It's our, I race on Saturdays as well, like you guys do, and it's our only off week. I'd love the opportunity to come on up and actually watch your guys' program.
The whole program has been just not only good for the track, but it's good for the people sitting in the and who say that looks easy. I've had people say to me, because we'll say you're going to average 135 to 140 miles an hour on the track, and I've had people say to me, well, I've driven my street car 130 miles an hour.
Not like that, they haven't.
Turn left. You haven't tried to turn left when you're doing 130 miles an hour.
Yeah, we had a lot of those guys that were all the big Corvette people that would come down to the driving experience and were like, yeah, my Corvette does 160. Well, it takes you a couple miles to get there. We're doing this by the end of a quarter-mile straightaway.
Yeah, exactly. Essentially, with a SuperModified, the two-seater or anything else, you cannot come off the corner and put the pedal all the way down to the floor because you're going to spin out or hit the wall or do something other bad. Yeah, they're so powerful. Weight to horsepower ratio, they're all 454 60 over Chevy big blocks, putting out in excess of 850 horsepower in a car that only weighs 800 pounds.
Those things only weigh 800 pounds?
Yeah, Super weighs 800 pounds.
I thought they were like 1,400 or 1,500 pounds. Now I'm even more intrigued.
Yeah.
You're winning him over here bit by bit. Go ahead.
Talking about the Make-A-Wish ride, which we did a year ago. We started it a year ago. Green and Seifter is one of the sponsors on the two-seat SuperModified. They're a CPA firm out of Syracuse. And they wanted to do something with the car, and then they came to us and said, well, you've got some of our partners that are involved in Make-A-Wish. Would you like to do something with them? Well, absolutely we would. So we did the ride a year ago, the first ride, and the youngster was 14 years old. And just a wonderful young kid. His family was great. They took the ride. And, we had people come up to us afterwards and say, I cried through the whole thing. And we interviewed the kid, and you never would have known how bad off he was. And yet, just before Thanksgiving, he died.
Mm.
Make-A-Wish is not always that way. Sometimes the kids survive. A lot of times they're terminal. There's no question about that. The youngster we're taking out this year is 15 years old. He's had childhood cancer for a number of years. The prognosis is good. It looks good for this kid. But we're taking him out.
Yes.
It's what he wanted to do. Green and Seifter CPAs are the primary sponsor of this, and then we got Canale Insurance, who's the sponsor of the two-seat SuperModified, and they've stepped up to the plate on this as well. And a lot of the teams at the track, a lot of the sponsors of the track have put in hats, T-shirts, candy, whatever, name it. They put into a gift bag, which this kid is going to take away at the end of the ride. We take all kinds of photos. He's there all day long, and the ride is done during intermission between the heats and the features. And it's a big deal for him and his family and the Make-A-Wish Foundation. But it wouldn't be possible without the support. Well, first of all, the track, has got to step up and get involved as well. They're all going to be in the VIP tower. But the individual sponsors are so important to the thing because they make it possible. And you just don't realize how important something like this is to the family. In fact, probably more to the family than to the child. Because at that age, sometimes you don't realize how bad it really is. Kids don't think about death. The family obviously does. And, you bring them to the track and you give them all this, not just the gifts, that's a small part of it, but the notoriety and, you see the smile on their face when they're done. It's an amazing thing.
And they've done some studies. I was actually reading up on Make-A-Wish. There was a story here not too long ago on WWE superstar John Cena. Over at the end of June, he completed his 300th wish. He's like the most requested celebrity.
Really?
And for perspective, Michael Jordan has done 100, and Kobe Bryant has done 200. So John Cena is 100 more. Look at between those three guys, that's 600. And in the story, they actually got in a little bit to what it means afterward, and that a lot of the kids they show some improvement afterward. Some of them battle back and ultimately show a full recovery, and it does a lot for not only for the kid to boost morale and stuff like that, but it does a lot of healing for the family too. So I mean, it's a great program to be involved with.
It's just a mental night
off.
Oh,
absolutely. It's prior to last year, I'd heard a lot about it. You know what it is, and they go to Disney World and stuff like that. But until we did it last year and got it down to the local level, you just don't understand how important it is to the kids and the family and the community and the people that watch. I had Kathy Weeks, who owns a company called Top Stitch that does embroidery for hats and T-shirts and stuff like that. She came up to me after the ride last year and said, I cried through the entire thing. If you do that again next year, she said, anything you want, I will give you. And she has stepped up to the plate this year. We've got 2 SuperModified team shirts that like there are 10 of us that worked at the 2-seat program on a Saturday morning. She's giving him one of them. She's giving him a hoodie. She's giving him a hat. She's giving him a T-shirt. I mean, this woman really stepped up to the plate and said, this is important. I got to get involved. But it's not just that. We've had individuals come up, kids, with $1 and change. I want to contribute because we're doing a thing at the track where you can buy a card with the 2-seat SuperModified on it, and you write your favorite driver's name on it and his number, and we're keeping track of who's the most popular driver. Brandon Bellinger is right now. And although they're not going to get anything, they're going to podium and make the presentation of the money to the Make-A-Wish Foundation and the kid. So many people have just come up and said, we got to get involved in this.
Well, we can't say enough about what that does for the morale and stuff, and for Oswego to step up. I mean, you've got the means to really support somebody like that with a 2-seat ride and give them a night out. And any track can do it, but Oswego has really been on the forefront of things the last 2 years. So we got to really commend you guys for making that move with all the great stuff that you're going on up there. This is just a little bit more icing on the cake.
Well, I've got to tell you, the track has been going since 1951, and obviously it's had some great years and it's had some down years the last few years. When Johnny and Eric Teresi came in, they're in the Harry Caruso mold, Harry, the original owner of the track, where Harry said, I want to watch racing on Saturday night, and I've got the money, and I can put it in. I don't want to lose a lot of money, but at the same time, I don't need to make any money.
Right.
And that's the approach these guys have taken. They know that the money they paid to buy the track and all the improvements they've made over the last 2 years, actually just a little over a year, they took the track over last April, they're probably never going to get that money back. And their goal is in 5 years to at least, break even, not necessarily show a profit, but break even. But in the meantime, they're putting all this money into the track. There's a new scoring pylon and a new men's room in the first turn, and they restripe the infield, and every week you go there's something new that they have done. But when it came to this program, we get a lot of requests for, can you contribute to this? Can you help us with that? And they do as much as they can, like anybody else does. But when it came to this program, Eric Teresi said, I am so into this program, we've got to do whatever we can do to make it successful. Last year we had a good opportunity. We used it well, and we helped the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and as I said, the youngster that took the ride and everything. And I got to tell you a little side story about that. He had chemotherapy either that day or the day before, so he was a little bit weak, and he was afraid he might have an issue in the ride and that he might throw up or something like that when it was done. So we said, Dave Tritek did the driving that night, and we said to Dave, instead of bringing him back into the main pit area, take him right over to the tech garage, and so he can get out of the car, and if he's had a problem, nobody's going to know it. Well, the track safety crew found out about that, and when his ride was over, they all went over to the pit garage and gave the youngster just a big round of applause. And he had not had any problems. He was very happy and everything like that. But I mean, they just gave him a big round of applause, and it just shows what what this program means to people and what it does to people. It just moves everybody.
That's well, it shows the courage of actually the kid. And Roy, what you said is that the kids are actually the brave ones. They really are, and the parents do seem to suffer more because there is more concern. But that story right there just shows, how courageous the kid is, and I'm sure when he got out of it, he probably wanted to do it again.
I can't say enough. These.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we've had every kind of person in that car you can imagine. Last year, towards the end of last year, we had a woman called me up and she said, "Well, what are the height and weight requirements?" I said, "Well, you got to be, between 100 and 240 pounds, between 5 feet and 6'5", and over 14 years of age, no upper limit." She says, "Oh, I'm good. So she shows up. The woman is like 5 feet 1/2 inch tall and weighs 240 pounds. It was like trying to strap in a beach ball. You push in one spot, another spot pops out. My wife, Lisa, who handles, helping strap the people in, actually had to reach in and move her boobies
I have nothing.
so we could get the seat belts in to fasten the woman in the car. We've had 2 people in the car
God
on
bless her,
oxygen.
Hey.
Guy says to me, he came in, he's got his oxygen tank. I said, I'm sorry, but I didn't know that. You can't take oxygen in the car. He says, I'm good for 10 or 15 minutes.
Oh, jeez.
Oh.
Oy.
We've had a paraplegic in the car. We had a guy with a broken leg. We can accommodate almost anybody to get him in and out. He had a broken leg, but it was flexible and it was below the knee, so we were able to get him in and out. But we can accommodate almost anybody getting in and out of the car.
That's crazy.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Beach ball.
Yeah, it's been an experience for all of us.
Well, is there anybody that's helping, in addition to who you've already mentioned, that's helping put the 2-seater out there on the track that you wanted to mention, or anybody else at Oswego that you wanted to give some recognition to before we let you go?
Well, as I said, there are 10 people that work every Saturday morning. They're all volunteers. Keith Gilliam, who is a SuperModified driver, former small block SuperModified driver, has been with the program from day one. He does all of the maintenance on the car and does virtually all the driving. He's got over 2,000 laps in that car on the track.
Jeez.
Dave Tritech, because Keith still races, Dave Tritech does the start, the feature rides. My wife, Lisa, Butch Kisselstein, Mike Johnson Pinner, Jeff Sharkey, who's the flagger. He's 14 years old, 15 years old, and he flags for us every Saturday morning. Butch is the push truck driver. The safety crew that serves Saturday morning, Mark McManus and Paul Canzone. Everybody has they realize how important this program is to the track. And everybody has just come up and said, anything you need, we'll do for you. Just tell us what you need. Kim Pickard, who works with Keith and his pit crew, is there every Saturday morning as well. And Trina Helmke has helped us out. And there's so many people that come up. And, of course, the Tereses embraced the program right away. Pat Furlong and Steve Joya. Pat Furlong was the guy that actually brought the 2-seat SuperModified to the track when they owned it. Steve was not really that much in favor of it, but Pat was. We brought it in, and it's been great from day one. But just everybody that does it just does it for a passion for the track and for the racing.
Well, we're glad for it. We look forward to being able to swing up there and see what's going on at Oswego Speedway and maybe take you up on that invite. Roy, we greatly appreciate what you're doing with that Make-A-Wish Foundation, and sure appreciate you taking time out to hang out with us tonight on the 31st lap.
No problem, but seriously, if you guys want to come and take a ride, you got my phone number. Call me up. We'll get you in on a Saturday morning, get you out on the track. You would be absolutely amazed at what this ride is.
Well, I can't wait to be amazed.
You and the next 2 of us.
Look forward to seeing you.
We look forward to it.
Take care, Roy.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Unfortunately for you, Justin,
Roy
the
Sova.
28th, it's the High Miller Nationals at Sandusky, so Oswego's actually closed that day.
I'll make something work.
Well,
There you go.
We'll have to figure something out.
I'm sure the track is available on Saturday for something.
Yeah, we can't let that invite go on taken up on. So to say.
On top of that, maybe we could get some type of little charity donation going with, while you guys are on the road with ESS, get something going. Maybe I'll try and get something going at Canada. We'll get a little fund going so we can make a nice donation to Make-A-Wish.
Yeah. No, and I've dealt with Make-A-Wish, not in a large scale, but helped them out a little bit and just small things. And what they do is amazing. And unfortunately, it's like the Ronald McDonald House, and not all of them are going to make it. And
I know.
And that's the tough thing. It actually, most of them don't, and it's just their last something they want to do before they're not able to do it.
We with Petty, it's very synonymous with the Victory Junction because it was created in Adam's memory after he got killed, and just any charity, anything that anybody's doing just to help one another, it just says a lot because. A lot of us are very fortunate. You get to travel with ESS. I have the very, great pleasure of being able to race cars and be healthy. We all have that luxury. Not everybody has that. And, where we're complaining about the weather's bad, somebody's, got a
the track's got a little bit too much dust or something.
Exactly. Yeah. Somebody's fighting for their life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's all fun and games until health sets in, and then reality sets in, and Make-A-Wish is reality. It's reality.
What they do is a great thing, and just everybody should embrace it. Even if you throw a buck, it's a dollar that goes somewhere.
Yes, it does.
Yep. Sure does. Well, once again, we encourage everybody to follow us on the 31stlap.com. We've got links to everything up there. Encourage you to visit the pages, podcast.fingerlakes1.com. Check out the Facebook page. Hit us up on Twitter, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, YouTube. All of it's under the 31st Lap. You can find Dog and Paulie, The Sauce, The Evolution, Kenny's Two Pennies, a variety of local Finger Lakes One podcasts and content. And, of course, to view the show as it happens, check us out at 31st Lap on FingerLakes1.tv. If you got something to say, ring us at 315-729-3999. To get links to all of it, you can visit us online at 31stlap.com. Well, we are well over the 1 hour and 40-minute mark.
That's 2 in a row right there. Solid. Man. I was actually like the first caller in. No one's called when I'm here.
No.
God damn. Come on, gang. I'm here.
The thing is
throw stones at me.
Well, when you're not here, everybody wants to know where you are. And then you text in, and everybody knows where you are, and everybody's happy.
And by the way, the Yankees are up 2-1.
But now that you're here,
Yankee update.
Now that you're, we're trying to talk about racing.
Sorry.
Yankees.
Now I get
whoa, watch it over there.
Get the hell out of here with your Yankees.
Oh, you must be a Boston fan.
Yeah.
Yep. You notice he's not wearing the hat, though. He usually has a Boston hat on.
I usually do. Yeah.
That's all right. We all have flaws.
I don't know. I was trying to give you a compliment, and I forgot where I was going with it.
Shit. Did I just drop that? Yeah, there you go. Me and Chuck keep now have something in common.
Baumes does like 12 of
them. Okay.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, there is a call. Look at this.
You're with us on the 31st Lap.
Yeah, I didn't want Dean to feel like nobody was calling in when he's sitting there.
In this magical chair, no less.
I also don't want Dean to get too awful comfortable in that chair. That thing's broke in just right, Dean.
I can't get comfortable, and I'm not. There's no. I have nothing. I'm sorry.
It's just plain too big for him.
Yes, it is.
Hey, Posty, that chair looks.
Damn right, it's just plain too big for him. I leave a big seat to fill.
Well, I know when Roy was talking about the ride.
And text message and get up and take a lead. Oh wait, Dean can take a lead.
Hey, had to.
Yeah,
that's all right. That chair looks pretty comfortable, but I still wouldn't give up my race seat for that thing.
When Roy was talking about the parameters of doing the Oswego ride, Rich went, "Damn it!"
Yep.
If that lady was a beach ball, I'm in big trouble.
Hot air balloon?
No, I just wanted to call in. I wanted to make sure that Dean got a caller while he was sitting in studio for once instead of everything just being calls for Dean. But,
he appreciates it.
I want to let Justin know he's doing a great job.
Thanks, Posty.
Well, hopefully everything goes smooth and he can get back here next week, too.
Absolutely. I'd love to see it again.
Yeah,
I'd love to be sitting there, personally. But 5-year-old soccer game, that trumps you guys, sorry.
Yep.
Remember, family's always number one.
Yes,
Nobody's arguing with you.
No.
Just make sure you're free on the 12th of July.
Anybody ever see that Simpsons episode?
With bells on.
Anybody ever see that Simpsons episode where Homer's running down the sidelines at the soccer game, throwing up in the cones? Anybody think that's Posty?
No. All I heard was running down the sidelines.
That's not posty.
There's that Simpsons. There's a Simpsons episode where Homer's running down the sidelines of a soccer game, and every little bit he throws up in one of those road cones they got put up on the sidelines, and he was wondering if that might have something in common with your experience at 5-year-old soccer.
Yeah, pretty close.
Pretty close. Not far off, huh?
Pretty close. They're scoring goals on their own team, so
at least they're getting.
It is what it is.
At least they're getting on the board.
Hey, it's still a
You'll
goal.
never see me running down a soccer sideline ever.
I don't see Rich running down anything ever.
I see Rich cruising around in the golf cart at Canandaigua, and it's awesome.
Cruising around in the golf cart. Hey, what do you got to plug while we got you? I know next week we got Vic Coffee, and then and I'm blanking on the poor kid's name, the sportsman guy that won at Fonda that Zupi was talking about.
Cody Blue.
Cody's going to be coming on too. What else you got to plug?
I got nothing.
You got nothing.
Solid.
Okay.
Great.
Nothing. July 12th, Amy's checkered flag.
And July
There you go.
3rd, right? You don't want to forget July 3rd.
July 3rd there, Rich, yeah.
No, do not want to forget the Thomas Ames Memorial Race on July 3rd at Rolling Wheels.
They got that auction. I'll coach you through this thing.
Absolutely.
I'll coach you through. Don't worry.
They still taking body panel donations?
Oh, they'll do anything. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Posty, come on over to the trailer this weekend. I got one that I'd like to donate to it.
You got that, Rich? You got to see.
What did I miss?
You got to get a hold of Justin this Saturday over at the trailer. He's got a body panel to donate for the raffle that you got to get over to Rolling Wheels on Tuesday.
I will be up early to see him.
Perfect.
Good.
Because the body panel is what they're
Wonderful.
auctioning
I'll
off.
let you fellas
Good.
get on with it.
All right. I
All right, Rich.
appreciate it,
All right,
Rich.
guys.
We'll see you soon.
Have
Thank
a good night.
See you Tuesday.
You know what? For a good cause, Tommy was a good guy.
Yeah.
Did you know Tom?
I knew him very briefly. You know, he introduced himself to me about 2 years ago. We talked very, very little, but we were always, on Twitter or on Facebook or Dirt Track Digest shooting back and forth. I knew him better on the computer than I knew him in person.
Right.
I wish I could say it was the other way around, but what I did have, experience with him, he was a very nice guy.
But with Tommy, all you need is 5 minutes and you knew him.
Yep.
You did.
That was pretty much it.
You knew him in 5 minutes.
I think I only met him once or twice at Rolling Wheels. I mean, I didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, he was sort of our neck of the woods, racing Russ. Every place that you went, there he was. I mean, he was at every race, and he would do whatever he could to get there, and he loved it.
Yeah.
He loved it, and he lived it. And July 3rd, it's a Tuesday night. Rolling Wheels, ESS is going to be there. Dean can't wait. They got the auction and the party.
We're
in the
donating
pits.
to the auction as well.
There's going to be. There's so much stuff going on, and those full fender guys are
barbecue,
absolutely loving it.
everything. Yeah.
Yep. Mike really, with Dirt Track Digest and everybody got involved with it, really took it and run, and I know they're going to appreciate that panel, Justin. That's great.
It's the least I can do.
If you got two, Mike collects panels as well. So if you,
yeah, if you got 2 door panels, he'll take one.
I'll see what I got. We got some stuff that may not be exactly straight anymore.
That's okay. It'll hang.
he likes the bent stuff better anyhow.
I always tease him. I go, he's like an ambulance chaser. As soon as the sprint car gets upside down, he's at that tower running.
Give me the
over.
wing.
First question, are you okay? Yeah. Second question, can I have your wing? That's it. There's the conversation.
Yep, and that's it. That's it. He's off and running.
And then he's breaking the side panels off the center section so
The
he can bring them home.
sailboards and stuff.
Yep. So, he does. Oh well.
He knows what he's got to do. What do you got to plug? We're just about out of time here. What do you got?
I definitely got to thank my mom, my dad, my lovely fiance. We're getting married here in a month. Without the 3 of them, my great crew, none of this would be possible. Everybody works their butts off so that I can go out and have fun. Coors Light, Molson Canadian, Twisted Tea, Benedict Performance Center, Dirt Track Digest. Adam Ross is always a good guy. Always is, making sure everything's positive. Dirt365.com, this year's new on board the car. Tarjack Dippings down there in Seneca Falls right here.
They can camouflage anything.
You got to see some of the stuff that
It's
they did
amazing.
for us this year.
You drink enough Coors Light, that can camouflage anything too.
They can Coors Light anything. They have some of the most wild patterns. Anything.
I know.
You pretty much. Their big thing right now is everybody's having skulls and other random assorted parts from hunting dipped. They're dipping these in camo. They're dipping them in dollar bills. You name it. It's incredible.
Wow.
But, Valvoline, Benedict Performance Center with Scott Benedict, always a great knowledge base, always helping us out. Bicknell Racing Products, Uptown Auto, Jenny Light on board with my dad. We're very happy. Everybody that's puts in time, effort, blood, sweat, and tears to our cars, I can't thank you enough. Jeremy Corcoran gives us a great track to race on. That guy gets beat up a lot everywhere, and I feel bad for him. So, thank you to him for everything he does. thank you guys for having me on board tonight. Hopefully I didn't bomb it too bad.
Nah, you didn't take a bathroom break.
You did great. You did great. I hope you're coming back. I hope you're coming back next week.
And thank you to Roy Sova here soon.
Yeah, Roy Sova. You just want a fan at Canandaigua, Roy.
I've gotten to either ride or drive in almost anything there is, and that's one of the things that I've always wanted to be in, is one of those super modified. So
how's your shot, man?
Absolutely.
How about Dean? I know you've been waiting all night for this particular.
First thing I got to do is the dash at Hilltop was Timmy Schaefer over Shane Stewart, Stevie Smith, Dale Blaney, David Gravel, and Cap Henry. So just the updates from Mallett there at Hilltop. I was going to go through the whole show without plugging anything to the very last. I do have to say Lucas Oil Empire Super Sprints. We do call it the Week of Speed. We are this Saturday at Merrittville for the Gary Cunningham Memorial. Sunday at Utica Rome Speedway. We always have a good show there. Tuesday, again, with the Tom Ames dedication to racing. Lucas Oil Empire Super Sprints at Rolling Wheels for the Super Sprint Showdown. By the way, we're paying $2,000 to win. And then next Friday and Saturday, we'll be doing a SUNY Canton weekend. We're at Mohawk International Raceway. And glad to have John Lazore on today, talk about that a little bit. And then we wrap it up Saturday at Can-Am Motorsports Park. So we're looking forward to that.
I got my money on Lance Young at Rolling Wheels.
That'd be great.
I think, when Lance won at Weedsport that last race, he was choked up a little bit. It does mean a lot when you win close to home, a track where he did run big blocks and small blocks at, and then, like you said, the timeout lane. And, it's a big thing. But Rolling Wheels is, we go to a lot of great racetracks. I mean, all the racetracks we go to are awesome. But just to get Rolling Wheels aboard with a full point ESS show, I think the teams are going to gear up just a little bit. Because say what you want, Rolling Wheels has a history, and it's an awesome place.
The wheels.
It's the wheels. It is the wheels. And we're all psyched. And have a big dedication race at the same night. It's going to be a big event. It starts at noon. I guess they got a barbecue going on. I'm going to be down at noon. We'll have our merchandise trailer set up. We're donating our Victualline board from last year.
Oh, cool.
That's signed by all the ESS teams. Matter of fact, I bring it to every race, and if there's somebody new, we have them sign it. ESS is sponsoring the halfway lap 13 of the race, or was it 27 lap race?
27 lap race.
Lap 14 is going to be $100. Whoever leading that.
That's cool.
So. And also, we're going to donate the Victualline board for the Tommy Ames race. We're going to get that made up by Paul Kinney and Kinney Signs, and we're going to donate that to the race as well.
The work they do is just fine.
Yes, it is.
They do good stuff.
Kinney Signs does a great job.
They made all the decals for.
Yes, they did. For 31st lap. Yes, they did.
The sign that we had over at Utica.
Yeah,
that was cool.
And they turn it right around in no time too.
Yep.
Well, they turned it around quick enough that we got it on my car for your guys' first win this year.
That's right. There you go.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
But Mallett's been handing those decals out all over, and they're on a lot of cars.
Posty's not screwing around either.
No, Posty walked in, handed it to me with the sticker back off, and said, "Put it on."
I can see Rich doing that. Mallett just goes up and says, "Please."
Well, we took it to a dash win that night, and we took it to the feature win.
The crazy thing about Rich, Mike walks up and says, "Would you mind putting this on your car, please?" Rich walks around the back side of the car, pulls out of his back pocket, pulls the backing off, and just sticks it to the car and walks away like nothing ever happened. So
but the driver sees it and says, "It's Post. Well, it's okay.
Yeah,
it's still there.
It's fine.
It's all right.
He's got a big chair."
Yes, he does. So,
well,
good show.
Yeah, it was a great one.
Yeah.
If anybody does catch up with Larry White before we do,
of course, I think the listener should say it's a good show. I shouldn't say it because it's going. I'm here.
Well, I'm normally a listener, so good show.
There we go.
Awesome. There we go.
Perfect.
So, and then if we don't hear from Larry or something like that, we'll start him dead last at the Utica Rome and see what happens.
That's not at all what I was going to say.
He's got an excuse. He had a tough night at Canada.
Yes,
I'm sure they got plenty of work to do.
We just don't want him to think that he was snubbed. We'll try to get a hold of him the next couple.
And Larry's a great guy. I've gotten to know him now that he has a sprint car. I tell you, there's a driver here in the Northeast with a big future, and Larry definitely. He gets a bad rap because the money's not an object with that team. We all know that. We all know who his parents are. But you know what? He runs that car. He runs it clean, and he runs it. If you saw that win at Brewerton, I mean, that was he outdrove absolutely everybody at that track on Friday night.
The problem is everybody hates on the kid because he's a very lucky and fortunate, but. I've met John many times.
Mm-hmm.
John brought Larry down to Black Rock when Larry first started in Sportsman, and they parked next to my dad, and that's where Larry got his start. And I got to say, John is by far one of the nicest guys at the racetrack you will ever meet. So you know what? He's got a good family and a good background. Yes, he's fortunate and has money behind him, but the kid's got talent.
Yeah, and the parents worked hard to get that money too.
Yes,
worked
absolutely.
Very hard. Yep. Very hard. Yeah.
Yep, they put a lot of time and effort in.
You grabbing those keys as a hint?
No, I was just moving them because I had lost track of them. I thought I left them upstairs.
That's okay. So
we got to make sure that the doors stay locked down there so that nobody gets in while we're up here. It's just the way it is.
The cult group there that was down before we came in's gone. So
that was one of just
that was weird.
That was just
that
community
freaked me
players.
out.
They're community players. It's just an.
I thought it was a flash
group.
mob, and you guys were screwing with me.
No, they
Flash
released
mob.
a pigeon when I got there. They did. They went up and released a pigeon. I go, God damn, that is a pigeon.
Did you notice all the spirit fingers?
I was trying not to stare, but I couldn't help. I mean, it was, when the train goes off the tracks, you got to look.
Well, I think this is a good definition of train off the tracks at this point.
Oh, God. Oh, there's the music.
Well, I appreciate you coming in. Now that the train is sufficiently off the tracks,
we're gonna cap it 2 hours to do it.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Game over.
The thing is we knew it was coming, so it wasn't a surprise. For everybody that wasn't here, Mike, John, Rich, Justin Henderson, Dean Reynolds, I'm Chris Marquardt. Thanks for joining us for this edition of the 31st Lap.
www.fingerlakes1.com